Yeah.
Very good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome here to the wonderful Billingham Catholic Club here on Teesside. This is the Live Lounge Live. It is a World Match Play special. I hope you're all doing a very good Monday so far. I hope you're all had a very good weekend. Some boxing football match was on, but we won't talk about that. But yes, it was very, very good, wasn't it, for England, wasn't it? And it's going to be one hell of a week coming up, because obviously Saturday night it all gets underway. It is the Betfred World Match Play. It is the second biggest tournament on the calendar, certainly second biggest ranking tournament on the calendar. The original venue, of course, the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. It's all going to be beautiful up there in the northwest, but we decided to come the other side of the headlines and come to the northeast. It is live. Phil Bars will be joining us very, very shortly indeed. I'm Jonathan. I hope you're all having a good one. Don't forget as well, if you are in the chat room as well, if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe, get involved. We have got the chat room up with us here this evening, so we can answer questions on the That's a very good sign. But also alongside, we have the wonderful Dan Simpson as well, who is here with us, and we also have Chris Mason. Darren, everybody. Let's have a live audience. It's absolutely brilliant. Love it. Fantastic, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much to start off with. Thanks for making the trip. I mean, for you, Glenn, obviously it's a local-ish sort of thing. But Mace, for you, is it weird not having a live match live in the Prince of Wales?
Yeah, it's a nice change. It's a lovely club. It's nice to come somewhere different and talk to people from different areas and their take on where the sport is right now. And of course, it's good to catch up with Glenn as always.
Dare I ask you how your day has been, Glenn?
I've had a weekend of mourning, so
it's not like you, pal.
Yeah, and I didn't realise I was until a few people sort of said something last night. But I've had a dreadful day. Dusseldorf's a big airport.
It is.
One delayed flight all day.
Oh, well, there you go.
But the good thing of that is 3 hours of Nathan Aspinall, so I did a little bit of background with him.
Oh, there you go. Lovely stuff indeed. Daniel, we've come up to your neck of the woods, mate.
You are very much in my neck of the woods.
This is your area. This is your manor.
We could only do this closer if I delved in my garden. This is about as... yeah, it's the first time we've ever been somewhere where...
The helicopter was there, by the way. That's why we're not having it. It's
yeah, that's right.
Health and safety.
Yeah.
You know.
I actually had a tour of Simpson's Manor actually earlier on today. Very, very lovely.
That was only the east wing. That
was, yes.
We'll do the west wing next time.
Well, it's great having you, and so many people as well who joined us already as well here in the club as well, so thank you very, very much for coming out. This is obviously a World Match Play special. Betfred World Match Play is happening on Saturday from the Winter Gardens. Well, we don't know exactly whether it's going to be on Saturday at 1 o'clock or Saturday at 7 o'clock, whether we actually are going to get underway, because obviously there could be the point where England might actually be in the World Cup final. But that's what we have to go off. We are going to go through the entire draw, we're going to go through everything throughout the night here, and we'll also hopefully get a couple of stories as well out of Chris and Glenn while we're with them here on the live band.
Some I can tell you.
Yeah, well, some of you can, some you can't. We'll start with you on the match play itself, because we've been fortunate enough to go to the match play a number of times, and it never, ever, ever gets old going into that venue. The first time you walk in, I mean, do you know what? I've got actually genuinely the hairs are standing up on the back of my neck now. What is it about you? Because obviously for you, it was brilliant as well, because you were part of the first ever televised PDC 9 data. And Glenn, well, we know from 2019 it was an absolutely amazing experience for you as well. So Chris, what about for you first off? What is it like playing under in the hottest room in darts?
Yeah, listen, it's the only original venue left, isn't it now?
Yeah.
And that's because of the expansion of the sport, I suppose. But yeah, it's very much like Lakeside when you just drive in. There's a certain way you arrive, and you arrive that same way every time, and it's just a special kind of feeling because of its history and what it means, not just to the players but the fans, and because the fans treat it with so much respect and because of the history, you sort of feel that as a player, and walk out on that iconic stage, and it's an iconic building anyway. You know, it's been there for a long time. There's been lots of things there that have been on the BBC over the years. It's just, I don't know. It's some venues never really capture your imagination.
I can think of a few.
Yeah. There's a few currently as well.
Yeah.
Sports halls. They just don't have that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They just don't quite have that thing, and it's quite surprising because the venue's important. Ali Pali now has that aura. Even the Circus Tavern. You say what you want about it. That was a cauldron to play in. That was fierce. And if you could handle that, you could handle absolutely anything. And that's what made that so special. It was like a bull pit. Everybody was on you. They were so close. I preferred those type of venues. But of course, we have more. You know, they could be right on you, and they'd still be respectful and give you the listen. They make a ton of noise in between throws, but when you were on the hockey, they paid you respect. And again, that's what makes the Winter Garden special. That's why it's so hard to get a ticket because there's still people going there now that went there when I played there. That's how that's how loyal the fans are to that place. But yeah, for me, it's the best venue in darts.
And Glenn, obviously, as I mentioned, 2019. You were part of what I still claim is the best session that I've ever seen live, where we had 3 extra leg games. We had Mervyn King beat Gary Anderson, and then coming off sweating like he was basically in a pool of it basically become a pool of himself. To be brutally honest, it was that hot that night. And then obviously you just decided to go and beat the world #1 and world champion at that point. What was that like? Obviously that run for you in 2019.
Yeah, if I could just go back to what you said there, where you said it's the hottest venue. Now I found the stage okay.
Yeah.
What the shock to the system was the practice room at the time.
It's the highest part of the building, isn't it?
I went through 3 shirts, and you talk about preparation. Michael van Gerwen walked in with 6, and I was wondering why. But it was a furnace in that players' room. But I found solace on the stage, and compared the fact that you've got all the cameras, because there's some stages where you're wilting. You know, I just. And there's a funny story to the day where I end up like Rodney Trotter because I'm doing some work for Dutch TV and there's a real issue with the sound. Okay. Yeah, I was calling me Dave and I had this red face and a white neck. And if you ever watch it, my zip is going down because of the heat of the building. And I think that took away the enormity of the challenge of playing the PDC World Champion against the BDO World Champion at the time as well. But it's one of the biggest questions that people ask me, what's the best moment you've ever had in darts? And you'd expect it to be winning a Premier League, you'd expect it to be winning a Lakeside, but I think beating Michael van Gerwen on the stage where Phil Taylor, my hero, had dominated, I think that was the best night I ever had.
And especially that period, Michael was literally unplayable.
Yep, he was unbelievable at the time. And obviously then you then beat Wadey in that quarter-final, just missed out in the semi-final, but like it must have just been amazing to be a part of that atmosphere for that first time in the Winter Gardens because like Chris was mentioning, obviously the fans are so on top of you, it feels like. Obviously it's the only place that we still have standing tickets as well. And so what is it like when you have that bit of a run and you feel like you've got that momentum behind you? What is it like there playing in Blackpool?
Well, I found a casino where the owners were treating my family and friends incredibly well. And so not only when I was playing darts, we had somewhere to go afterwards where we're having good food. And the whole week was just immense. And if you got hairs on your arms, I was very proud about Teesside at that time. I used to wear the red and white shirt with the band going down. And sort of to see the amount of people from Middlesbrough turning up, you know, against the first round against A.D. Lewis, there was a few there. Then a lot more against Van Gerwen. And then by the time I was playing Wade, Michael Smith, it was just a sea of red. And it was, I think the term was walking in a does of wonderland. If you can't feel 10 foot tall on that stage under those circumstances, then it was an incredible week.
Yeah, semi-final Saturday at the Matchplay feels different to
anywhere
and anything else. It's because of the late start and you know you do extra media stuff and you're hanging around what feels like forever. You're sort of ready to go at 11 or 12 o'clock and you know you've got another 7 hours to before you even think about it. But even just in the town and just arriving, the queues of people because it's quite a small venue for such a big tournament. But you know the queues outside, everybody, you can hear that or you can feel the tension before you even pick up a dart. And yeah, what a night what an honour to play there in a semi-final in front of a packed house.
How hard is it to get that right? When you've got that semi-final on the Saturday and you know it's so late, you get up on the morning, normal time that you're used to getting up, and you've got then such a long day with such a big event at the end of it. How hard is it? And how often do you I mean, you two see a lot behind the hockey a little bit.
Yeah.
How often do you see players get that wrong, that period of time and that extra long wait?
Well, I obviously didn't see enough because I had 4 major semi-finals and didn't get one of them right. But there you go.
It wasn't a targeted question.
Thanks, Emily. I'm all right. Where's my tablets? Give me the tablets. Yeah, listen, it's just, and it is. I mean, more so, I think getting it right more so nowadays. Like I'd be ruined playing 3 games in a day. I just go missing in between them. That's the fine art and the Grand Slam, getting that right, 2 best of 31s in an afternoon and an evening. That's super tough. But the match play, it's just the format of it's perfect. Yeah, you're playing long course starts, but you've got so much time. In other tournaments you can play late and they'll put you on first game next day. So people don't realise by the time you've finished all of the media, especially now, you could be looking at 2.5, 3 hours, Glenn, after you've finished your. If you were last on and you were victorious and everyone wants to talk to you and it was a big game. So by the time then you sort of catch up with all your friends and family that are coming down a beer or got something to eat, you're not going to bed till, well, I never went to bed full stop, but there you go.
Well, this is the point I was just going to pick you, because I remember when we did that interview with you in 2019, the game didn't finish, everybody. I don't know if everybody watching remembers it. I think it finished just after about midnight, might have been 12:15 when you'd beaten MVG, because everything else had gone off. And by the time that Glenn had actually finished up with us in the media, it was close to 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I just thought, obviously, because you've obviously got to go and see your family, you've got to go and see everything else. I bet you didn't probably go to bed till about 4.
Again, and I think we then went on to get some food there.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important at this point. It's such an individual sport, and I must give credit to a guy local called Dennis Coleman.
Yeah.
He liked to do what I like to do. He liked workingmen's clubs. The environment I'm in right now is when I'm at my happiest. And we found a little place in Blackpool, a little CRU club who, almost just give me a little VIP room. They knew that I was happy in there. Very similar to what happened at Lakeside.
You found that one.
We found it. So Dennis Coleman was huge for me. So while everything was going on, he was sorting my family, friends, tickets. My wife was really solid as well. She don't panic, I'll sort that out for you. But I think a lot of credit went to Dennis Coleman, and I'd go for a walk for him. Sleep was really, if you could get on a semi-final day, when you're at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, what am I going to do with myself? If you can get an hour or two skip as well and go into that competition in the semi-final with a full tank of petrol, that's a big help.
Yeah, absolutely. From a fan's point of view, though, Dan, because we've always said this about the match play, how special it is to actually be able to get a ticket to go into that. I mean, I was there last year. The first time I've gone there in about 4 years, I finally managed to get a ticket. I saw a great session of darts. But this is a question that I don't like to ask, but I fear we might have to. Is it time, because of the commercial aspect of it? I think I'm going to get pelters here for this. But is it time for the commercial...
the chat room just lighting
Yeah,
up.
absolutely. But we have to ask these questions. Is it time for Blackpool to either put a new venue like they're doing with the Crucible, or, heaven forbid, is it time for it to move?
Well, the challenge, the commercial challenge, is I think you could, or the PDC could comfortably sell every ticket 3 times.
Easily.
And that's not, we talked about that, and we back and forth for ages about the World Championships. And the question was often, well, yes, there's the weekend tickets you can sell, and you can, obviously, towards the back end. But then what about, the Tuesday night? Well, I honestly think you could sell 3 tickets for everyone in Blackpool comfortably. But the problem is where, because, my point has always been, it's took us this long to get our show in the north of England.
Yep.
We have so little in the north of England where people can actually get reasonably priced, normal working people can get to watch the darts. Taking it out of the north, I think, is not an option. I would protest so firmly against it, but you're really limited because you need something that you can book for 9 days straight. There are, if you think of anything that's got like a sports team that's based out of, you look, a lot of the mid-sized arenas, you'll often find that they've got a basketball team or they've got something that's got regular fixtures and you can't secure the venue for 9 days. So then you're looking at things like conference centres. I think, there's an option in Manchester, I think, where they could probably get about 3,000, 3,500, really good transport links, but it
doesn't have the same heritage.
It hasn't got the seaside, it hasn't got the heritage, and it's the first thing, I get excited. It's the only darts event I get excited about going to. Hang on, no, I apologize. Minehead is different.
Thank you.
But I'm not working. I'm not. That's,
That's
not.
a fair point,
I look forward to Minehead because
Minehead's work. I must have missed that in my contract.
Exactly that.
I get excited because that's just.
Curry was great last year.
Yeah, well, so Minehead now it's a trip to the darts with my mates, and again we don't get a lot of that anymore. No. But I look forward every year to walking into that building and just having a walk around and having it's just so beautiful. But the problem is, and this is the challenge, that with anything, as soon as the demand gets high, the prices get high. I have to, for the last 3 or 4 years, like my 2 lads are here down there, I've not been able to get them to the match play. I can't get them into the room to see it. And I get pelters for it because he always falls the week of his birthday, and I think, well, why? I can't. Even I can't come up with tickets because they're just everything's on the resale. You're looking at, and without exaggeration, hospitality. What, £450, £500 for a hospitality ticket now?
But I get that though because again, it's supply and demand.
Exactly.
So
so it's a real difficult question. That there will always be people that say you can never move it. It's a beautiful venue and it's full of history. Everything else has moved. You've got to keep that last bastion of what darts used to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's a difficult question. You talk about commercial opportunities. Well, you've got that with the Premier League. You've got that with Ali Pali. This is about the history. Why do the fans say it's the best competition in the world? Well, the sun, the heat, Blackpool, and the Winter Gardens.
I agree.
And I'd be so opposed to it going anywhere to put another 2,000. It's not playing in front of 2,000 people in that furnace heat is why we're sat here now saying this is the best competition on the calendar.
Yeah, listen, they're a wonderful organisation, not just Matchroom and the PDC combined. That they've got themselves in a blessed position that it's one of those events where commercially, and obviously they had the Sky money, which was a huge amount of money.
Yep.
Betfred Paddy Power throwing an absolute ton of money at it because of where it is and what it is. And when you listen to, and Bars has asked Matt Porter the question many times, and Matt's instantly oh no, it's not going anywhere. And listen, if they were ever in a situation where they had to compensate with ticket sales to make up for a lack of sponsorship, then maybe commercially, listen, everything that is done commercially, people moan about these things, but they wouldn't be doing their job. Their job is to make the business and the players as much money as possible, and that's first and foremost. But there is times where they will sort of, hang on a minute, this is the World Matchplay, and they're aware that there's no more historic events. The next one is the Ali Pali, and now that's being, it's not moving, it's just being tweaked and adjusted to allow in and again, that's just demand, but it's not being moved. It's still going to have that iconic surrounding. It's just in a different sort of configuration.
I really hope it never moves, genuinely, because as I say, there is no. Even I love going to Minehead, I really do, but there is just something so special, especially if you go there for the first. I mean, we've all been fortunate to go multiple times, but if you have never gone to a World Matchplay,
I think they're completely different.
Darts, yeah, 100%.
It's darts, but it's different.
No, 100%. But what I was saying is that with the Matchplay, when you walk into Winter Gardens, there's no room, unlike the Winter Gardens, where you actually feel straight away. This might be over-exaggerated, but I don't think it is. That you feel the weight of history basically as you walk into the room. Like you feel your mind goes back to those first games you ever watched at the World Matchplay.
If you were a football fan, it's like Wembley. Or something,
yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
I agree with you. There's only 2 venues sort of make me sort of
yeah,
and it's there and Lakeside. Because you know, most people sort of my age fell in love with the sport because they watched the Embassy on the BBC all those days, you know, back in the day. So, yeah, I think it would very, very unlikely. And again, Matt and Barry are aware, you know, that is just, and you just speak to them, you know what they like. They love that place. I could never see it going.
Well, we'll talk about, actually, because there is a tournament going on. The tournament actually starts on Saturday. We need to go through the draw. But before we do, a quick look back on the week that's just happened. Obviously, Glenn, you were out there in the Euro Tour. Apart from the fact that it was an absolute furnace, like it was, like it normally is in Blackpool, what was it like out there in Leverkusen? Obviously, Christoph Ratajski winning it, came back because it was a bit of a topsy-turvy final, wasn't it? He went 4-0 up. Jermaine won 6 on the spin, and then Ratajski won. It was a bit of a topsy-turvy game.
Yeah, first of all, for the fans, I think Leverkusen is a great Euro Tour to go to. Dusseldorf and Cologne is only 20 minutes away from the airport. The Place Hotel is literally a 1-minute walk. So if there's people watching this now thinking, I've got to do a Euro Tour next year, then Leverkusen is a great one.
You wouldn't recommend Risa, then?
If you can't get a ticket for Blackpool, do a Euro Tour because they are unbelievable. It is literally a darty party.
Recommend going to Risa, then?
Well, if you look at the venues as well, if you're up here in Teesside and you've got to try and get in a train to London, it's cheaper to go to the Euro Tour.
Absolutely.
It's far cheaper to just get a flight to Germany, to go over to Holland, get the ferry, whatever. It's cheaper than going to...
That one I did in Bratislava a few weeks ago. Leeds Bradford, 60-odd quid return.
Perfect.
I mean, and Bratislava is another beautiful part of the world. And like I said, go to a Euro Tour. And I know we sort of wavered, but I hear that all the time. I can't get tickets. Well, and the darts are equally as good. It's not better. The atmosphere is slightly different, but if you love darts, you'll love a Euro Tour.
And sorry, you were going to say...
Yeah, so, I mean, as a bit of a background there, I didn't see the final being Christoph Ratajski versus Jermaine Watermaner when I walked in.
If you had that, I'd have told me give you the lottery numbers and then stop lying.
And I think, again, the background was the players' room, which is similar to the room that we're in now for the people here watching now. It's a fairly small room, but it was really cold. You know, there was lots of fans on, and it's almost like you're walking into a sauna. It was worse. And just, I'm going to have one last moan as well.
Why not?
Our comms box is like 2 telephone boxes.
Really?
And there's no air coming in or out. There was water condensation coming down.
Wow.
And I probably did go on a little bit too much. But apart from that, it was a fabulous competition. And when you talk about acclimatising to the heat, you know, Ratajski's got to go into next week now with renewed confidence because he just looked cool as a cucumber. Players wilted up there. Chris Dolby, Nathan Aspinall, fit lads coming off, saturated, great competition.
Well, this is the thing, because I was going to say there were a lot of big names that actually went out in round 3. You look at it from the afternoon session on Sunday. Michael van Gerwen, Gian van Veen, Johnny Clayton, Wessel Nyman, who's been obviously a perennial winner this year. It's not going to give them that much confidence. Well, there you go. Go on.
But on the Saturday night, the narrative was them 4 players were absolutely superb.
Yeah.
I thought Van Gerwen looked immaculate off the jockey and on the jockey. He's lost a ton of weight. He looks great. He had an entourage with him, including his daughter. I think he goes into match play, despite the fact he lost on Sunday afternoon, happy. Van Veen, similar, because since that injury at the Premier League, he hasn't really produced the goods. It's been an eventful 2026, but he was involved in an absolute classic on Saturday night. I think he goes to Blackpool knowing that the game is there. It's got to come out on a more consistent basis. Johnny Clayton, I think, is a dark horse for the match play.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
he's going early.
Yeah, I think he looks good. So the 4 players that you named there, Nyman, I think is outstanding. But he hasn't done it with that camera on him yet. And so the 4 players you named there, I still think they got the match play with good hopes.
Dan, your thoughts overall on the Pro Tour as well this week? Because obviously it was a very dramatic week on the Pro Tour. I mean, let's just put it out there, because we said it back in April that Daryl Gurney looked quite safe for the match play, and now he's not going. So that was a bit of a cock up from us, but what else is new? The thing is, as well,
I think we might have to do count back on that. I think we're on the stream. I'm pretty sure I had all 3. Any one of the 3 could not make it.
Yeah, but then also as well though, Dave Chisnell, because you wouldn't have thought with the way that how far he was off, but he's just come like a rocket this last couple of weeks.
I think what a lot of us looked at was we looked at those at the very bottom, and it did every now and again somebody did something, and it made them look a bit more secure. And towards the end, Daryl Gurney was looking right on the wire, Damon Heta was looking on the wire, and then just picked it up. And to be honest, every time I thought who's going to come from the outside, I was looking for someone who I thought would go on a massive run. And we said for a few events in a row, the form of Cristo Reyes, Reyes could have, because it seemed more likely that he would have a run to a semi-final than that Chisnell would just pick up bits and bobs, and that Chisnell would be consistent. And I just kept expecting someone to just come from nowhere and pick up a lump, and it didn't really happen in the end. And Chisnell just seemed to grind his way and stick around. And then on that last day, all of a sudden it was done, and he still had a game to play. So then he could play without pressure because everybody else is out and he knows he's there. I wouldn't have picked him.
No.
If you'd have, well, we didn't. We said it for months, didn't we?
Absolutely.
We didn't make anyone shortlist.
I had a look at some data from sort of
You actually did research?
12 months ago.
Doing it live.
To 6 months. To 6 months. I have the laptop shut.
Yeah.
So sort of the last 12 months, week one, month 1 to month 6, and then month 6 to now, just to see if there have been some sort of jump in improvement. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, this is what was actually
Flatlined.
Yeah.
Well, this
Just under a 91 average for that whole period. Wow.
Well, finally, before we go, because obviously we've got to actually start looking at the match play shortly, but we've also got Benjamin Smith coming in a second. Wonderful, talented darts player from the North East. He only picked up a dart a year ago, less than a year ago, and now he's the JDC European Open champion. So we'll talk about that in a second. But before we do, another young star that has absolutely catapulted this year is Bo Greaves. I'm gutted she's not going to be playing for the full week at the match play, or you would have been playing in round 1, because it looked like for a while when she got that Pro Tour that she might be in the conversation. But now she's qualified for 2 Euro Tours and just continues to.
For me, that was the next step before winning a Pro Tour. But I did say earlier in the year, I looked at the last couple of years when some quite random names who you wouldn't necessarily pick out have got it done when the big guys were missing. That doesn't take anything away from her achievement, by the way. But to qualifying for Euro Tours is key for the next development. Just playing against them on the big stages, experienced at the Slam, experienced at the Worlds. I think I think the timing of this is perfect, and she will really kick on.
I had the honour of commentating on the 1-4-2 finish as well, which is a big thing. I think she's got the best throwing darts from a player that's had issues with dartitis, etc. I did think, how would she handle that furnace heat in Leverkusen this week? It's not just about being a skillful dart player. There's so much more part of the preparation. Mace touched on earlier. How do you get to a Sunday then win 4 games that day as well? So that intrigue, that fascination there for Bo Greaves. But she's on the right trajectory. She's doing fantastic things.
I think what what many people were expecting was this. Luke Littler, and we always say Luke Littler sort of spoiled it for everybody, because people are certainly more casual fans are used to it. All of a sudden we hear of this person, they become a dart player on the television, and then they start picking up trophies.
Yep.
But I think the progress that she's made it's almost the perfect pace at which you want somebody to progress, because you want people to gain experience, and when they go into something to have built up to it and to have overcome a bit of adversity as well, and you need them to be toughened up. And I just think the pace at which she's progressed has been completely perfect, and she will just gradually, I believe, eke her way out into a position that sooner or later we'll find out where she's going to settle. But I still think there's a good 18 months, 2 years of just chipping away at becoming more and more regular onto televised events, more and more regular into the Euro Tour, building a base of ranking points to be able to sit and make sure she's qualifying for things. But I do think the sky is the limit. She can go exceptionally far and then stay there.
Just one caveat though, when she becomes a top 64 player, can't then go on the women's series, because as a dart player, when you're winning matches consistently, that's a sound foundation on a world to build. And when she doesn't have that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, similar to obviously with Sebastian Wiatrowski now, because obviously he's now jumped into the top 64, and we've seen what he's been doing on the Dev Tour. He's been hoovering up titles all the way. So thank you very, very much for now, gents. We will be coming back with a full preview of the World Matchplay. But very, very shortly, we are going to be joined by Benjamin the Tsunami Smith, who has won the JDC European Open this weekend. Glenn's already very, very happy because another one from Teesside is doing the business. We're going to be joined by him in a couple of seconds after the break here on the Live Lounge Live in the Billingham Catholic Club. So welcome back then once again then to the Billingham Catholic Club. I've moved into Chris Mason's seat actually because we are joined now by the wonderful Benjamin the Tsunami Smith, who has joined us here on the show. Now, if you don't know about Benjamin, he's going to be a big star, it looks like, because you didn't pick up a dart until before this time last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, about last year. I picked up a dart about a year and a half ago and then went on to play a competition about a few months after that and then just went from there.
You're pretty good though. I mean, just going through the list of what he's won, everybody. 8 ADC Vault titles already, 32 JDC Youth Vault titles, and the North Series 5 regional champion that gets you into the JDC National Finals. Also qualified for the JDC World Championship. Oh, and just this weekend, you've won the JDC European Open as well. I mean, that's not a bad line of trophies to have.
Yeah. It's just a brilliant feeling winning it this weekend, to be honest, because I didn't think I'd be winning anything like that anytime soon.
Yeah, but it must have just been incredible for you, though, because obviously, that means that you've got your advanced tour card as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I was hoping to get that this year, but getting it from this weekend just means I don't have to do the phase 2 foundation tour. Sorry,
Yeah.
so it just saves a lot of time and money.
Well, I mean, always helpful. I mean, Glenn, you've obviously coached this young man, and have you seen the talent that's been there?
Again, so the background was I don't usually coach players under the age of 16. I think the academies in the UK and afar are doing a brilliant job. Much better position than I am. I'm a believer as a coach that someone like Benjamin is going to grow naturally. He's going to mature differently. Success could come at any time for him. So I've almost stayed away. But from January, I just seem to get so many young players. Matthew Hale is another one who's very, very impressive from this area. And I was doing a lot of under-16s, and then I got contact from the parents, and usually you get a standard reply from me. This is what the session will be about. Because he's only 14 at the time, I'll only work with him for 1 hour. But what I didn't do on this occasion was I didn't say, can you give me a background about him, his personality, his strengths and his weaknesses, just so I can build a program for when they turn up. And he walked in, and it's funny seeing the parents tonight, is that he threw 3 darts. It was a 140. I asked him to warm up because when a player warms up, don't go for treble 20. Just loosen the arm, bull, double 6, double 11, double 3. He walked in, he went 140, 180, 140, 180.
Jesus.
And I looked at the parents, and I'm almost like, I mean, no one will remember Jeremy Beadle, but I was almost like waiting for someone have I been Condy? Is this somebody? And I was like, the excitement I got, because I touched on earlier how proud I am to be from this area, how proud I'm, to be here in the Billingham Catholic Club tonight. And I've waited, from the Jamie Owens from Billingham, who's got more bottle than any dart player I've seen from Teesside, the Gary Hayes, the Jordan Matthews, the Jamie Durrants, the Carl Colemans of this world. I've been waiting for someone to take over my mantle from the area, and he has walked in with Matthew as well and has blown me away.
Really?
And the first thing I did was contact my sponsors, and I said, get this kid signed up. I've seen nothing like it. His dad sends me text messages regular with his updates, and I send him the same reply. I'm watching, because when I know he's playing, when I know he's in a vault, I'll put it on my phone and watch him. I am so excited about him.
How does that feel for you, listening to someone like Glenn? Because obviously we know, look, Glenn's done all right in his career. Just 3 3 Lakeside Championships in the Premier League and multiple other titles as well. But how does that feel for you, hearing that from someone who is considered, a Teesside legend?
Yeah, to be honest, it's just good, because it's just good to have someone behind your back and just supporting you, because it just gives you a lot of confidence going into things. Yeah. Especially in winning Premier League and 3 Lakeside titles.
Yeah, he's not done too badly in his career. You didn't,
Yeah. Do you know what's making me really proud right now? He's a great dart, but isn't he speaking well?
Absolutely.
I'm sure at the age of 15, I'd have been nervous about sitting here and doing it. So not only is he a great arrowsmith, he's an intelligent lad. He's a very likeable lad, and just hearing him speak right now, he's the full package.
You also said as well, I remember you saying on an article that you did yourself, about the fact that you watched the game first off. You watched the Luke Littler game, wasn't it? That really got you into it. Now, obviously, Luke's just basically gone and done something that is just ridiculous. But but to have someone who is still quite young, he's not even 20 years of age yet. I guess that's a big inspiration for you going forward as well, to think, well, if he could do it, then surely I can have at least try and do something similar to him.
Yeah, it's just for me, it's just about getting as much exposure as possible. If you don't get yourself out there and go into things, you just people aren't gonna know about you. So how are you gonna get sponsored or get money for things? If you don't have much money, you're not gonna get places.
True, very, very true indeed. And for you, obviously, Dan, it must just be brilliant. Again, much like Glenn, although your darting careers are a little bit different, it must be good for you as well to have someone from Teesside as well who's going to be. It looks like he's going to be one of the next big things.
Yeah, I've definitely won the most matches in the Billingham Catholic Club. I've definitely won. My record's slightly better than Glenn's. Oh, it's the only record I've got.
That double one is battered.
It's hammered, isn't it? It's not. Yeah, it's around the board that's the problem. And it's I've for years and years I have banged the drum on. How long have we been doing this show now? 5
Too
years.
long,
5 years. Every Monday for 5 years, I always try and do my very best to bang the drum for the North East and especially Teesside, because it's where I'm from. And then,
you from Teesside?
Yeah, I've mentioned it once or twice. I've got a T-shirt or two.
Yeah, I know.
And for the longest time, that meant banging the drum for Glenn Durrant. That's what that meant that we here had somebody to be our champion. And it did always feel like when Glenn was winning. And what I thought was always quite good is, if you're around this area, different people support different football teams. Half of them support Middlesbrough, some support Sunderland, some support Hartlepool. Everybody supported Glenn Durrant. It just became universal. And Glenn's right when he talks about somebody to take over. That's sort of what we need now, because we're lacking that a little bit. Those of us here, and we're having to go outside the area a bit and champion other people. But yeah, it's amazing to see the talent come out of Teesside. It's incredible for me to be so local here in Billingham. It's amazing.
So for you, Benjamin, obviously, why do you love playing that? What made you really love playing this sport?
Well, at first my friend had that board, and then I just liked it from there. But what pushed me further into the sport is how supportive everyone is. Because obviously there's no friends on the hockey. You have to play them and beating them. But if I'm playing in for example, nationals or the European thing I just won there, the European Open, everyone comes together and supports you. It's not against each other anymore. So I think that's just a really important thing about the sport.
And what's next then? Obviously, because you've got the JDC Advanced Tour card now. What's next for you? What's the next competition that you think you might be looking to play in?
Well, I was hoping to get obviously I said before, get my tour card off the Phase 2 Foundation Tour, but now that I can't do that, I've already got it. Going into things like WDF and stuff like that.
Okay, very good. Very, very good stuff. Well, I mean, like I say, hearing this, Glenn, what about you, for you? What do you think the ambitions and for him do you think at this point?
Yeah, I was speaking to the parents earlier, and listen, my background is born and does it, and my answer was just make sure he's doing his schoolwork.
Yeah,
I said make sure he's getting his education. He likes plumbing in a sense that I said make sure he gets a trade when he's 16, 17. So I think that's really important to have that plan B as well. Listen, I went from a player who was as good as anybody I felt on my day to not being able to hit a dartboard within 3 weeks. So it's really important to have that platform, that backup plan as well. I'm excited for the future. Anyone watching, I mean, my sponsorship will be due up in December with my sponsor, and I'll be saying to him, listen, invest in this lad. I mean, any local business is watching now, because if Benjamin feels like I did as a player, I had 4 patches on and I never left Teesside. From Ultimate Windows to SMC
Windows,
Carpets, they were all local businesses. And if anyone is watching this, I've put it on my social media that we're live now, and you just fancy a little punt and you just fancy just following someone local, I don't often put my head above the parapet and put pressure on a 14-stroke, 15-year-old lad, but this lad has got it. Back him. Let's sponsor the lad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, mate. Well said indeed. Right, well, Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, we wish you all the very best, and we will definitely be watching out for you. One more time, everybody. Benjamin the Tsunami Smith. And I think you have to depart as well shortly, don't you?
Yes, but I think we're going to go through the World Matchplay.
Well, we are shortly. Yes, absolutely. We're going to be starting the World Matchplay preview any second now. So stay with us, because we'll be back very, very shortly with more from the Billingham Catholic Club here on the Live Lounge Live.
No, I'm just standing up.
Absolutely.
Oh,
move seats again. I feel like I'm playing musical chairs, but we are rejoined once again by Chris Mason.
Dutch is going to stick around for the first section of the draw with the World Match Play because obviously we want to have to be here, especially in Billingham. We've got to keep you here for as long as you possibly can. So yeah, it is the first part of our World Match Play preview. This is why we're here in the Live Lounge Live in Billingham here at the Billingham Catholic Club. So first section of the draw then is as follows. We have some kid called Lou Littler, never heard of him. By the way, a very good evening to the Littlers as well, who are definitely watching. They'll be watching. The tiny takeaway will be there, 100%.
Yes.
Luke Littler takes on Nico Springer. Then we have Nathan Aspel against Joe Cullen, which is quite interesting considering that Cullen was on his stag do the other day.
I thought you were going to say, because I've just spent 3 hours with him.
Well,
He's flower boy, isn't he?
yeah, I think so. That's what I've heard, 100%. Josh Rock will take on Luke Woodhouse, and then Stephen Bunting taking on Niels Zonneveld. So that is the first section of the World Match Play draw. What we always do, if you've never watched the Live Lounge Live before, specifically when we go through these events in particular, with World Match Play and the World Championship, is we like to go through each quarter of the bracket, like to see if there's any big upsets that we think could happen, if we could call it an upset nowadays, really. And then basically see, is there a seeding danger? Is there someone who might be on a run here? And then eventually give our quarter-final who's going to come out that quarter and head into the semi-finals. That's what we like to do. I'm going to start with the obvious question here, gents. Is this basically a long-winded way of saying that Luke Littler's going to come out of this quarter, realistically? Are we going to go through a long-winded way of saying that Luke Littler is basically going to do what he's done for pretty much every tournament he's entered?
Yeah, I think there's a few factors which version of Aspinall turns up. For me, outside of Luke Littler, he's the best player in that section. Unfortunately, they're due to meet in round 2. I think the only danger for Luke Littler is round 1 if he comes in undercooked. He's not played a lot of darts for quite some time, especially he may have been playing exhibition stuff, but that doesn't replicate the Winter Gardens, and he's fully aware of that now. He's far more experienced than the 16-year-old lad that we first spoke to a few years ago. Yeah, and the worry with Nathan is literally fitness, not fitness as in could he run around the block. It's just the injury woes, and they've got a bit of history there. These two, they played each other in 23, and Aspinall did him 17-9. So, like I said, I've been impressed with Joe of late. I have to say he's bounced back well from going through a real sticky patch. Could this come around too early? Who knows? But if Aspinall's on his game, I think the only player that stops Littler in this section is Aspinall.
Well, this is what I was going to say to you, Glenn, obviously, because Chris mentioned it there about the fact that he's not played any darts, really. He's not played any single darts, like single-only darts, I think, competitively, since the Premier League final. And that was about 2 months ago. It has been a while since we've seen him on the PDC stage on his own. Obviously, he's won the World Cup.
Yeah, that's the only problem with sat next to the best pundit in the world of darts. Is all I can say is I concur with what Chris is saying there, because they were my answers. My concern for Luke Littler, Phil Barrs interviewed me last week where, the headline...
The famous Mr. Phil Barrs.
Yeah. The headline was Glenn doesn't get on with Peter Mann. Sorry, the headline, sorry, was...
You don't mean to tell me that Barzi's manipulated a headline.
Yes, he's good at that.
Peter Manley is sorry.
Yeah.
He checked with us. We all told him not to, and he went
he
against
did,
our advice.
Yeah.
The one line I said there, he's very good at that. I said that Luke Littler wouldn't win the match play. Then the draw.
Really?
I did. I didn't. Part of it is like, as a pundit, and Chris will know this, it can be really like, Glenn's going to, Mark Webster, Chris Mason, they're just going to say Luke Littler's going to win. So I think my job as a pundit now is to, to give the public as well, these are playing well. This person likes that stage. This is an opportunity. And then the draws come out, Charlie, and I like the draw for Littler.
Yeah.
Now, the obvious thing that Chris alluded to there, the fact that we've barely seen him. And I think there is an element of fitness, as in physically, as well, because of the heat.
Yeah.
But he handles that well. He's a player who zips that shirt right up. But listen, at 18 and 19-year-old, you don't feel the heat like you do when you're 30, 40, 50-year-old type thing. So I like the draw for Littler. And the reason I like the draw for Littler is Springer was superb at the weekend. 105 average in his second round game, and then was involved in an absolute belter with Jan van Veen. So Springer goes into it well, but the pace will suit Littler.
And Littler would have he'd have been sort of took notice at that performance and thought, right, that will have got him
On the board.
off the sofa and on the board.
Yeah.
And I think he needs that kind of motivation. And he knows. Listen, they've only played once. That was last year or the year before. I can't remember. And it's irrelevant at this stage, but Luke Littler's seen enough of Nico to know that there's a genuine threat there if he's absolutely on it. My fear is, can Springer, who is unproven yet over this distance, and certainly on that course, he will have played in no environment like he's about to walk into.
Well, this is, again, another question for you, Dan, around Luke, because obviously he's the headline act in this particular quarter of the draw. Like, let's have it right? But Littler is even money to win the match play according to title sponsors.
That's a bloke
Betfred.
that's not played for 2 months.
But this is the thing, because like you say, if we've been seeing him quite regularly, I'd imagine that he would have been at least odds on minimum. You'd have thought maybe about 5 to 6, something like that.
If
on.
not, shorter.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like the fact that he's even money, are the bookies started a little bit worried? Do you think, or are they going like, come on, take us on, see if you think he can win it without that?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I think for a long time he frightened a lot of bookies. I think a lot of bookies panicked when they had to price up Luke Littler. It was hard enough for them to price up a match for him, but then you have to try and price up an event, and then you look at the draw, and we have people who probably don't know more about certainly the darts that's been played recently with these two than ever. But I think to someone who comes in a bit cold and isn't as close to darts, you look at Nico Springer, and if you just look at the overview, you think, right, well, his best work was done a year ago when he had that Euro Tour win, he had that run at the final of a Euro Tour, and unless you're watching you're watching every game that's played, and you know where there's been real shoots of that he is the same player that achieved that last year, then I think it's easy to dismiss him if you haven't been close enough to it, where you've seen those big performances from him.
Well, here's one.
I think the evens is out of respect for Nico Springer and a potential tie with Aspinall or Cullen, and then whatever comes next. I think they're aware. But if he goes out there and does a job on Springer and averages 102, 103, he'll go 4 to 7.
The interesting thing as well, like last year, he repeatedly went 5-0 down. He just kept going 5 legs
He did it
behind.
for shits and giggles, didn't he?
And he kept going 5 legs behind. I had a very amusing conversation with his mum when I think on the 3rd time he went 5 legs behind. He wasn't impressed as to what he was putting the family through. But I think if he starts fast, then it's terrifying for everybody, because I think whilst he's got proven history on that stage, we know that he's rode his luck at times, and he's relied heavily on his ability to come back from a break, find another gear, snap his head out of it, and think, I'm gonna have to get something done here. I'm gonna have to start playing. I don't think this year. I know he's had a bit of time away from playing competitive matches. I don't think he'll be caught cold.
Well,
But there's no negative. He doesn't carry any baggage either.
No, well,
there's no negative.
The only negative really is the fact that obviously MVG beat him in that round 1 game in 2024, wasn't it? That's the only negative.
Yeah.
That was hyped up to the.
That's MVG. That's not like.
And there's so much.
Of course.
There's so much happened since then. Of
course.
And I genuinely think the kid he doesn't dwell on it.
No.
There is no part of him at all.
Well, I think that's why he has that ability. Like I said, he can lose 5 on the spin, and as me and Glenn would be thinking, oh no, here we go. What's happening here? He just goes, right, okay. I'll just win the next 5.
Yeah, he knows there's always that gear that he can find, and sometimes we have seen it where he's run out of time when he's almost found it too late, because no matter even when he finds that gear, his opponent will still hold some, he'll still be able to hold his throw, and sometimes he's run out of time, but he typically hasn't when he's been in Blackpool.
Just before we go further, I just want to say Bookers has got in touch with us, right? And he said he's got us on an iPad because he's booking flights with a Shabba as well. So obviously
I just got the Google Maps route to here, moaning that it isn't local enough for him to attend yet. Ilkeston's all right, but this isn't.
Can I just say
absolutely.
my final word on that one?
Of course
Is
you can.
if you're an in-play gambler, Nico Springer's about touch and feel and rhythm. Watch for those first 3 legs, because if he's got that motion going, or has the occasion got to him, if Littler's leading 2-1, 3-0, lump on Littler.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the rest of that section of the draw, obviously, as well. So as we mentioned before, it was Nathan Aspinall, Joe Cullen, Josh Rott, Luke Woodhouse, Stephen Bunting, and Niels Zonneveld. Is there any of the 4 seeds there, Littler, Aspinall, Rock, or Bunting, that you would fear might be in danger of an early exit?
All of them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
all of the above there. When you normally go into the World Match Play, it's like, who's that player who is the not in the 16 seeds? I think that Gary Anderson was a headline one to avoid. Now, Luke Woodhouse is the one, but he's never a headline act.
No, I
I
agree.
would say, and he'll probably say, I'm never going to tell Glenn anything ever again. But I said, I thought you looked beautiful there, Luke. After his win, the first one, he went, there's just something wrong with my throw, Glenn. And he's put that, like, I was like, you've got to get rid of that negative out your head now, because I thought you looked $1 million up there. So that's put the fear, because I had him as a real opportunist to beat Josh Rock. That's put a seed of doubt in my mind, because if he's not 100% on that stage, that's a concern.
Yeah, they're 2 different type of players. Luke Woodhouse is, for me, like a Ratajski.
Yeah.
He's our version of Ratajski. He's rock solid. You know what you're going to get from him. But Josh Rock has that flair game, but both of their their A games, Luke Woodhouse doesn't have the A game of Josh Rock, but he has a much stronger B game. And I think it's where that balances out over a long format. I think this could go real tight.
Well, this is what I was going to say about Luke Woodhouse quickly, Dan. I was going to say that he was actually the top Pro Tour qualifier. So he was the one at the top of the rankings, of the non-16 players, seeded players, to come through. So would you, like, I'm guessing you two were saying if there is anybody that's going to go for a deep run outside of the seeded players, that would be your picks.
Not necessarily a deep run, because I just don't. His draw's horrific. But
Yeah, that's a fair point.
if he does get over Rock, he's going to have to get over Bunting, who I think beats Zonneveld fairly comfortably.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's any seeding danger right now, I'd say Stephen Bunting, to be really honest.
Yeah, I like Niels Zonneveld, but you know, when we talked about the Damon Hetters are going to leave Leverkusen on a bit of a high, thinking, yes, my game, Niels Zonneveld did not play well against Ross Smith. He demolished him.
Yeah.
I think Bunting has been unreliable in terms of, and the amount of times that he's made me look silly, because I've sworn blind he was going to win, he was going to piss it, it's going to be dead comfortable, and he's made such hard work of things at times. And I've also seen we've all seen some absolute brilliance from Zonneveld. There is a real player in there. But I'm just not sure the timing's going to be right for. But I think Glenn's right. I think Zonneveld's he's had a rough weekend. He's going to have to snap out of it very fast, I think.
And he's on debut.
Yeah, he's on his debut against
Everything sort of points.
against a northwest, a player from the northwest in the north. He's going to be. You know, we talked earlier about going into that room for the first time and dealing with everything that comes. And especially if you're going there, and we know you're going to have every single person in there on their feet, singing Titanium, jumping around, and it's going to be.
In all fairness, that's a banger of a tune. Let's be honest.
And when you're playing one of these established pros, proven, you know, multiple major winners, their form going into these kind of things, or recent form, really just goes into insignificance when you're playing someone on debut, because they'll own that practice room. They'll know that they've been Niels Zonneveld, right? They've been that guy, and you know, it's the way you carry yourself. You almost sort of, he won't old man him, because he's not old enough to old man him, but it'll be that kind of thing. You'll sort of be, you know, not looking down his nose at him, but making him realise that I'm the governor in this building tonight. You know, you're not beating me, and that will be the attitude Bunty will have. And listen, the match play is so important to all these big guys that think, and they're seeds for a reason, and they think they can all win it. The seeds.
Well, I think the seeding's worked out beautifully in a way for the fan, because you know the most likely, and with the greatest of respect to other players, the most likely second round match there is Stephen Bunting against Josh Rock.
Correct.
Well, that's
I disagree there, mate.
Well, that's a TV semi-final, isn't it?
I disagree with that.
That's a TV semi-final, quarter-final of a TV event
Two Premier League players.
that we're going to that we could see in the second round. The seedings they've thrown up.
Well, but everything.
What's in that orange?
Yeah, it is. but the thing is that, like I've said before, I'm with you boys in the sense that I actually think Josh Rock gets beat, because I think that Woody in particular has been playing so well this year on the Pro Tour and the Euro Tour that I think that if one seed is going to be in big bother in this section, it's going to be Rock.
I think Rock will get pushed to the limit by Woodhouse, but
I do.
It's who's got what left at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And listen, the confidence, but again, like Glenn said, I've heard this from Luke before. He's always sort of trying to pick holes in it. I think he's one of the players whose evolution has been outstanding because he's just got better and better. Not in 5 minutes, not in 5 months, but in 5 years. You know, it's the kid that come off the tour, wasn't it, and then come back on. And listen, he's just, in the space of however many days, won his first pro tour and his first European tour. So confidence won't be an issue. It's doubt.
Yeah.
It's not belief. It's like questioning. Can I do it? Can I do it? Now, against a player like Rock, who they feed off that negativity, you know, and he can put a little streak together of 5 or 6 minutes that wins him 3 legs, and that could be the difference.
I've just looked at the stats as well for Luke Woodhouse. As I've just said this, he's never actually won a game on that stage, and that's the key thing as well. It's like Kim Highbreaks' record, wasn't it? You know, Kim took so long to win a game at the match play. It can put some doubt in your mind.
Absolutely, he'll know that as well. He's very clever. He understands his game. He understands what he needs to do now. But as Chris mentioned there, he's been gradually improving all the time. We should see the best version. No, I do. He's very likeable to watch.
So let's just take a look then at the quarter. Who we think is going to get through into the quarterfinal of that section of the draw, and then who we think is going to be in the semi-final. This is going to be no surprise to anybody because because I consistently said for a long time that Luke Littler is the greatest talent that darts has ever seen, and I will stand by that 100%. I know Phil Taylor's won more, but I think that in terms of pure talent, I've always said that Littler's up there is the greatest talent there's ever been because Phil had to work hard to go and do what he did. I'm not saying that there wasn't talent there either, but Phil was really coached quite well by Eric and developed well. Luke Littler's just got something ridiculous, in my opinion. But let's just go through this. So again, no surprises. I've got Luke Littler, and I've actually got Luke Woodhouse in a quarter-final because I think that whoever comes out of that tie between Josh Rock and Luke Woodhouse, I think then makes the quarter-final, and then Luke Littler goes on and makes the semi. And
again, it's the opening game, Rock against Woodhouse, so more nerves, I think, from Rock.
That's big.
But I've got Littler Rock.
Yeah, again, I can absolutely see that 100%.
Same as what I've got.
Well, unfortunately, I'm having to go last and agree with everybody. It's difficult. You like to be exciting, you like to be different, but every now and again, you've just got to use some common sense, haven't you? And
when did we ever use that on this show?
Allegedly, we've.
No, remember the abuse we got when we said that Littler could win the world's on debut, and we were.
Yeah, we were roundly thrashed in the chat room, and everybody told us we were daft, and we said this kid's pretty good at darts. But no, I think anything other than, I would consider anything other than Littler Rock a bit of an upset and a bit surprising, which makes me think, am I a bit worried about Stephen Bunting? Yeah. Because if go back 2 years. Stephen Bunting, other than Littler, is the main topic of this conversation. We wouldn't be talking about Niels Zonneveld, and we wouldn't be talking about Luke Woodhouse. We'd be talking about Stephen Bunting. Yeah, and the fact that we're not, I think, is a bit worrying for him.
Yeah, but the thing is that Luke, his best performance at a World Match Play is a quarter-final. Anyway, Bunty. So that's his best performance at a quarter-final. And he's only made one quarter-final in the last, 5 years? So that is quite a big thing to get over. And I don't know whether the pressure...
It's a big sample of form line, isn't it?
And also as well, that pressure that you talk about with the Northwest crowd on there as well, and being first on as well, especially if it's Saturday afternoon in particular, if the fans are, how can I put this delicately, suitably lubricated enough on that Saturday afternoon.
Over-practiced.
Yeah, that's the words I'm looking for. So again, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise anybody. I'm sure that I think it's going to be Littler versus Woodhouse, but Littler versus Rock from these gentlemen as well. Again, I think that tie there comes through.
I didn't get blown away with a whole last 32 draw like I have the past 2 or 3 years.
I agree.
But I think the last 16 could be exceptional.
You have to shoot off in a minute because you haven't actually genuinely been home yet because you've been Leverkusen. So thank you very, very much for coming to this. Because you're not going to be here, who wins the World Match Play?
Yeah, I said Luke Humphreys with Phil last week, but I don't like his draw.
Yeah.
And I love the draw Luke Littler. And my job these days is not to say Luke Littler because it's easy. I just
don't worry, he's not a Littler hate.
I just think that draw's perfect for him. And listen, I want to see him play his championship finals in mine as well. And another win here. I just think it's going to be an exceptional competition. It's not going to be the hottest Blackpool of all time. So I don't think that sort of the heat's going to be the biggest problem. Then he goes down to the best play. It's over an extended amount of legs. Littler gets better as the match goes on. Looking at the draw, he's going to be tough to beat.
Thank you very, very much indeed. Everybody, please give it one more time for the legend, Mr. Glenn Durrant. We'll be back second half of the World Match Play, first half of the draw, second quarter of the first World Match Play, coming up very, very shortly. See you in a sec. Okay, everybody.
Well, hello everyone. Guess who's just rocked up? You know.
Whoa. Hey, Barzy, that's my job. everybody, please give it up one more time for the famous Mr. Phil Bars has joined us. Here he is. The gaffer's arrived. Dare we ask you about your journey, dear?
It's been
I've just seen the
emotional.
car here, right? Yeah. I wouldn't ask him about his journey.
It's been emotional. Packed the car up so finished streaming at 10 last night for the Euro Tour. Cheered on the Polish Eagle.
Yeah.
Moved the car into a sensible position so I could pack it because, as you can see, there's a lot of gear.
There is a lot of gear.
Packed it all up, had it all nice and neatly. I thought, right, let's get a Mackie D's on the way on the 4-hour drive to get me here. And then the bloody battery and alternator went.
Oh, dear.
So I borrowed my mum's car, and I can't remember the last time I did a 4-hour trip and didn't go above 70 miles an hour.
But you never do go over 70 miles an hour, my friend.
Points make prizes.
Yeah, well, we know that, 100%. Yes.
It was like, do you remember when that episode of The Simpsons where Bart Simpson's hoying that little car and, and then an enormous man gets? That's what it was like when Phil
Well,
got there.
it is one of them tiny. Is it a one? No, is it a 106?
206.
Is it 206?
206.
I'll tell you what,
So
I'll
it's
tell
like
you
a-
a,
it's
I'll
like
tell you
a
a job
shark
there.
and a goldfish bowl.
Three door. And
And a 3-door.
And I'm convinced that some of our, let's say, our more technical challenges today are all down to which bits of kit you had to not
force in.
include. Yeah, because I think, I'll have to leave that, and what's in what bag. But he got here eventually.
He got here eventually. He has done very, very well. Well done, Barzy, for getting here. Very,
Cheers,
very
lad.
proud of you. Right, so here's a question then. We're going to go, we're not actually going to go for a little break now because the four of us are just going to sit here for the next hour and chat darts. So sorry about that, everybody who's in the room. Section 2 then of the World Match Play. Barzy, out of interest, as you're here with us, because you haven't predicted Section 1 yet, do you have any difference to what the boys have said at this point?
No, I think Littler cruises through the top half, if I'm being honest. Look, I agree with everything you said. Nathan, I know he didn't say it himself. I thought he looked $1 million at the weekend.
Yep.
I know he was saying, I don't like my throw. It's still not there. I'm working hard. I thought he looked $1 million. However, I think Littler's in his head. I think that Nathan knows his record's not good. And anyone else, I'd fancy Nathan to have a real go at. But yeah, I think Littler comes through that, and I don't see him not getting to the semi-finals as a bare minimum, if I'm being honest. And then he'll break the the £3 million mark on the rankings, which has never been done as well. Not bad in 2.5 years, is it? Good job if you can get it. Yeah, no, I fully agree. Littler, semi-finals
Couldn't
for me.
afford the pay cut. Couldn't afford the pay cut.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. At least you have some sense. Then at least you're not saying that he isn't going to make the final. So that's all.
Oh, don't worry, it's going to get worse.
Well, to be fair, it can't get any worse. This is by the
It
way.
can.
No, it can't. Genuinely.
hang on.
No, it genuinely can't because right. This is a gentleman here who genuinely said with a straight face that Matt Campbell was going to make a PDC World Championship quarter final this year.
Matt Campbell has the ability to be an unbelievable dart player.
I have the ability to have a six-pack, mate. Doesn't mean I'm actually going to get it.
It's just a shame that his right hand works overtime on something other than darts.
Well, he gets up to in his spare time.
But bang,
We're
cha-ching.
back to you again, aren't we? We've come full
That's
circle
why
here.
I'm single.
But
Anyway,
if you think because you know why he's here, don't you?
yes.
Because all of a sudden we now have to start talking about the section of the bracket
Oh,
that's got
yeah.
Michael Van Gerwen and Gary
Gary
Anderson.
Anderson.
He's worked out well, this
In
for
here,
him, hasn't
and here
it?
appears Phil Bars.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, we all know where he's
The
going.
rest of it, you're just disappearing.
the difficulty he's got here with Van Gerwen and Ando in the same draw, it's like picking which of his favourite kids, isn't it? It's like,
Well,
it's
we
like
know who's going to play who in the quarters.
Yeah,
Sophie's-
absolutely. We
that's
know how Classico's going to happen in the
Sophie's
court.
choice for him, isn't it? It's not-
I might surprise you.
You won't. You never have done.
I think I might.
Okay.
Not
Anyway,
in 20 years, Bob.
so this is the section of the draw. Michael Van Gerwen against Andrew Gilding. Chris Dobey, the legend that is Chris Dobey. Sorry, unfortunately, by the way, I mean he should have been here, but unfortunately he has actually been delayed over in Leverkusen. So sorry about that. But yeah, Dobes, we'll see you at the match play. He takes on Dirk van Dijvenbode. Johnny Clayton taking on Damon Heta, which is a very interesting game actually, considering the way that Damon Heta played this weekend in particular. And then Gary Anderson against Ryan Joyce, another one, of course, around from these parts of the world. So, Barzy, I'll start with you. Michael Van Gerwen against Gary Anderson in the quarterfinal. Who wins? Thanks very much.
I actually look. Would I be surprised if Andrew Gilding beat MVG? No, I wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't. Look, don't get me wrong. Michael looked $1 million, but he's still fragile on the outer ring. I can't get away from that. He looked all
Double
but
16 is just
it's his nemesis. Look, if he takes those little pops out, he beats Gilding, but I'm not convinced that he does. Gary Anderson is miles undercooked for my liking. I don't think he's played anywhere near enough darts recently. He's pulled out of too many tournaments. And look, if anyone can play themselves into form, it's Gary. But it's difficult to do. When you haven't played and you're not match sharp, it's not easy to go up there and do it. We saw it on the Pro Tour, that he got into winning positions, and where he hasn't been playing and not winning games, he's missing tops, he's missing 10s, he's missing 16s. He couldn't buy a double. I'm not sure if you worked on those ones, mate. But he couldn't buy a double.
As a
And that comes
caveat
from
to that, though, he is playing Ryan Joyce, who is going to absolutely struggle in that.
Joyce
round
isn't
one.
the
So
issue.
that might be the perfect game for him to.
It's
to
the second
find
round
some
game that's
form.
the problem.
Yeah, potentially, Heta or Clayton.
Clayton for me.
Yeah.
I worry about Michael Van Gerwen against Andrew Gilding. So, I think without a shadow of a doubt, Michael Van Gerwen will get to a finish ahead of Andrew Gilding consistently. The problem is that Andrew Gilding he's a machine. His numbers, we talked about flatline numbers earlier on. Andrew Gilding's numbers don't go up and down.
No.
His numbers are. He will hit about 42% of his doubles.
An average 95.
And he'll hit 42% of his doubles, and he'll average 95.
But my problem is if you're over 40% and only average 95, he's not going to have the scoring power to contain Michael Van Gerwen, who I think looks at it right now. I'm expecting him to have a run at this match play because.
Are you?
Yeah, because of the distance, right? He's got time to fluff his lines, right? I don't think anybody in that section is in particularly great form right now. I'm not. I think Heta's a great thrower, but one swallow don't make a summer.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
And I can say that for all of them. None of them have lit up the world of darts in the last 6 months. Where you have to say at times MVG has looked irresistible. Now I'm on MVG when he's not at it, and I'll expose him and use numbers to make you aware of why I don't think he's at it. His numbers at the moment, what he's suffering with is the same thing that Price is suffering with. If he starts missing doubles, he will miss them throughout a match.
Well, this is what I was going to say about you mentioned it not being on it. I'm just going to go through year-to-date order of merit.
Yeah.
Obviously, Luke Littler at the top. We know this, but obviously Wessel 9 will come on to him in a second. Obviously, he's only $7,000 off it, but he hasn't done anything on television, which is just ridiculous. You look at the best person in that section is Chris Dobie, 139 grand that he's won this year to date, ranking money-wise, ranking points-wise. Johnny's next on 13th. Andrew Gilding is 15th. Michael Van Goen's all the way down in 20th. And that is my biggest issue, Barzi and Dan as well. We see him do it quite a lot on non-ranked events. But when the money is there, and this is not normal for well, is it normal?
I think that's just an anomaly. I think that's a coincidence at the minute. I don't. He doesn't need money, so he's not.
I get that, yeah.
And he doesn't care about his ranking position right now.
But he could drop out the top 4 by the end of this tournament.
I don't think that bothers
I agree with Chris. I don't think. But if there was, I think I wouldn't have it about any other player. No. If someone was to suggest that it's the pressure of a ranking title, or that if he loses he might go here. I think if there was any player of the 1-8 that I would say not him, it's Michael. I think when Michael's at it, he's at it, and when he's not, he's not. And I think there isn't a sort of periphery. Oh shit! Now I'm going to be.
When he's turned up at the World Series of Darts finals, and he's literally got a huge entourage and what they call them, influencers, and his kids and all that. If you're struggling, right, and you're starting to feel the pressure, the last thing you want is anybody anywhere near you. You literally go on your own to just almost hide and hopefully go under the radar. I speak to him regular behind the scenes, and I ask him some not tricky questions or any kind of questions to catch him out. Just try and get a general feeling of where he is mentally, how he feels his game is, what does he think the future holds, and Barzi speaks to him like me regularly. He's a pal of mine, right? So we speak like mates, and there's not a doubt in there.
Sorry, I was just going to say, is Phil Bars close to Michael Van Gerwen? Is he?
He'd have mentioned it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have mentioned it a couple of times if that was the case.
However, I've got a question for him for the match play.
Yeah.
Michael, what's it like to play Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, that was a very surprising move.
I'm not being funny. Do you know his answer would be? Fabulous, it'd be cooler.
Yeah, it's a fair point. MVG's 5th favourite to go off at this tournament, 16-1, which you would never have expected a few years back. Obviously,
shrewd punters will be backing him each way, mate.
Well, this is what I was going to say, because obviously we mentioned Gilding. That game obviously brings back the memories of the 2023 UK Open final. That was a watch. And then the 2024 quarter-final, obviously, that's when MVG defeated Andrew Gilding in that one. And then Barzi, Dan, now he's defending that finals money. He's defending the runner-up money.
Well, that's the reason why we look at, and you look at the tour card money the year to date and where he could end up in the rankings. If he has a good run at the match play, all of that talk that everybody's been doing about this anticipated plummet down, and he's not going to be in the top 16. He's going to have to. We've laughed and we've some of it in jest about him going to the Euro Tour qualifiers.
We did the same thing with Aspinall, didn't we?
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, but then we also did the same thing with players who've done exactly. That's the other thing. We've talked about it with Peter Wright, and we talked about it with Michael Smith, and we talked about
Peter Wright's decline was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was the thing.
vast.
And we just didn't see where he could put the handbrake on and make it stop. It wasn't like he was having one poor match. It was just, and it was the repetitive nature of those poor results and poor performances. And I think mentally that's just broke Peter down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barzi, obviously for you as well, about the fact that obviously he's defending finals money this time around.
Yeah, look, I don't think he defends all of that money. I think he defends a chunk of it. And also, money's gone up. This is the first time that this outside the Worlds, this is the big money. The money goes up on all the TV tournaments now. So not just Michael, any player that is there has a chance to gain or not take as big a hit. The same as it's brutal. If you're not there, it's not just you're not defending what you won. Obviously everyone else is gaining on you because the money's more. So look, do I see Michael making the final? No, but I think he can defend some of it.
Well, they say, I think, personally, I agree with what Mace was saying earlier, that Gary, I think, is probably the seed in danger in this section because he's so undercooked. So out of Gilding, Dirk van Dijvenbode, Hette and Joyce, who do we think there has the potential to go on the deepest of runs, if you like? Because I don't think there is much there, personally.
I haven't seen... We've seen a little bit, very late, from Damon Hette. But for the longest of time, he showed absolutely no sign that there was
Especially on
anything.
TV.
Especially on TV. And I still say, I mean, Dirk van Dijvenbode, he does an absolutely superb job of masking what an incredible dart player he is.
Clumsy.
A lot of the time. It's like he's such an incredible player, and he masks it so well because it's a lot of it. It's like unforced errors, isn't it?
Well, his problem is he's mentally weak. He's probably too arrogant to go and see a sports psychologist or get some advice. That's his biggest issue. You know, he's. And again, you're right. Ability-wise, you cannot question his ability. He's a remarkable player. During periods of his, and it's not exactly a long career, but again, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, you're the idiot.
But he looked for there was a period of time, 3 years ago maybe, where he showed signs that he was going to really solidify himself. And I'm not saying he was going to go and lift the world championship, but solidify himself like top 12, and he was just going to be around that top level and stay there. And then he obviously, I know there was injuries, and it's very difficult to then find that consistency again and find a way back from the injuries. But
he was never consistent in the first place.
No,
this is the problem, and he takes it personally. He gets too emotionally involved. He gets too involved in what he's doing in a match. The great elite players, they miss 6 darts at a double. Do you think they're caring about that on dart one of the next leg? Not a chance, mate. It's gone. And that's what makes them elite. Well, I think that's the difference between good players like I was and great players like they are. Because they just throw it in the bin.
Summing that up, I think taking everything you said that you want somebody to be like, and that is within that section of the draw as well for me, and it's Johnny Clayton.
Yeah.
Like that player that it can go wrong, and it's not. But then that next leg, he's just back at it, still going.
I'm just going to shout this here now. Clayton's 28-1 with the sponsors, which I think is excellent value. Excellent.
28-1.
Excellent value. I don't like, but gamble responsibly if you are having a bet, or if not, when the fun stops, remortgage the house. But
your first bet loses, lump on the second.
Correct, absolutely right. We chase our losses. But that, I think, Barzy, 28-1 is an absolutely outstanding price on Clayton, who world number 5, who has got a decent chunk of money on the Order of Merit this year. That's quite a nice each way,
He's just had a pretty impressive run on the regular in big, busy, noisy venues as well. His Premier League form was unreal.
Almost.
He looked a little bit patchy though not the last tournament or the last 2 tournaments. He's either been on it or off it. He's not had any B game to speak of.
But you don't worry about. He's one of the players in that list though that you don't worry about him mentally. He's not. You don't. And we talked about venue and crowd and
he just when am I on? Where's the practice room?
So here's
tell me when I got to be ready.
So obviously semi-final last year at the UK Open, semi-final at the World Matchplay last year, semi-finalist at the World Grand Prix. Previous finalist, obviously, as well at the Matchplay. This year, he went out in the second round of the World Masters. Okay, fair enough. But quarter-final of the Worlds, quarter-final of the UK Open, semi-final of the Premier League, only just about missing out on Luke Humphries. He should have probably won that game. And there was also as well a quarter-final of the World Cup. Solid, I think, right now. 100%.
Can't be world number 5 by accident.
No, you really can't.
You can't. You just can't. Especially if you're not carrying major trophies. And this is the thing now. And Luke, and to a degree, Luke Humphries in the sort of 12-month cycle before, is they've really upset the norm in those rankings because you are now or currently able to get to a world number 3 or world number 4, world number 5 without traditionally you'd won something, hadn't you? You must have won something to pick up enough money.
Or a Grand Prix.
Yeah, but there's such a clean sweep in those two in the last 2 years that we are now seeing players. But to do that, you've got to be Johnny Clayton. You've got to be consistent. You've got to constantly be there. Quarterfinals,
a genuine top 8 player, not one because of.
You've got to really earn it. You don't get that. We every now and again you get some rogue winner of the and we've seen them of the European.
What was it 2024 with that European Championship semi-final? Was it when it was Lou Woodhouse? Jermaine What's-Her-Name, Richie Edhouse and Danny Noppert. So there are anomalies to the rule.
It's like a pro tour that no one else really.
Literally.
It's really weird, like a crap European tour.
It was, right. So that section of the draw then.
MVG versus Clayton for me.
And who comes through?
MVG just.
That's a lot of faith. I get full respect to you.
Numbers.
But I get.
I don't have opinions.
I know you like
numbers game.
But averages are. No, we can't say that one. What you?
I'm not going to change the habit of a lifetime, even with common sense, am I? So
Chris Dobie waits the final, then, does he?
Chris Dobie plays Johnny Clayton.
Yeah, and who wins it?
Johnny Clayton.
Wow, you're saying I think Dobie gets the quarter?
I think, you know, I just, you know...
I guarantee you right now, everybody, that if Dobie had been able to make it, he'd have said that he'd gone and won it tonight, 100%.
Yeah, probably. See, you know,
that's how it works,
I
isn't
do my
it?
bit for North East dance, you know.
I think Dobie beats Dirk, but his record against... If Dobie in any other kind of section, I'd be making noise. But his record against MVG, or expect to beat Gilding, is absolutely horrific.
Yeah,
they often have, especially at the minute, they've got the same problems. They're both going to score really well. Yeah. They're both going to dick around on the outside of the board. Like they're both going to struggle to hit a double. That game, if we see that game, it could be an absolutely superb game. It could be a complete nightmare, yeah. But it also could be a nightmare on the outer ring. But no,
still good to watch.
It'd be perfect for us. But I think Johnny Clayton comes out, and you know you can swap MVG and Chris Dobie if you like, depending on what happens in that game.
I don't think you can ignore.
I think Clayton comes through.
No, I agreed. Agreed. Let me guess. El Clasico?
No.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Controversial.
What's the quarter final then?
It's going to beat Dirk.
MVG plays Johnny Clayton. I think Johnny beats Gary.
Yeah.
I can't. I would love to sit there and say we get El Clasico at the match play.
Oh yeah.
But
what a game.
I'd love to be proven wrong. And Gary, what we need is Wayne to on night one say Gary's passed it, Gary's finished, Gary should retire.
Just to rev him up a little bit.
Just to absolutely piss him off and. Because we know what happened last time. Yeah. Gary was on the way out. He was the fishing boat was packed.
Yeah.
And he was done.
And then he made a World Championship final, didn't he?
And then someone upset him, shock, and he comes back. Oh, so I'm fucking finished, am I? So hopefully, if Webby or Party or Wayne can stoke the bear on night one, I'd happily to be proved wrong. But I think MVG plays Johnny Clayton right now.
Yeah.
Heart versus head. I'd love to see MVG there, but I agree with Chris that I like Johnny Clayton at the Winter Gardens. And we talk about family a lot in darts. This is the one where Johnny takes his family.
Yes.
Because I know his kids have now left school, but this is the one where the family always go. All four of them are there, and I think that spurs him on as well. So Johnny Clayton beats MVG in the quarterfinal.
I've gone similar to one of you. I've gone with you. Chris Dobie plays Johnny Clayton in the quarterfinal, and Johnny Clayton wins it. So congratulations to anybody else other than Johnny Clayton, because all four of us have predicted Johnny Clayton go. Well, apart from you, you've gone for MVG. So actually, no, that's fine. Actually, so that's fine. Right, section 3 then. I'm going to say I think this is possibly the hardest section of the draw to call. Weirdly enough, and I'll explain why in a moment. Luke Humphries will take on Cameron Menzies in round 1. That is a good game. I like that. I'm really excited for that game, actually. Ross Smith against Kevin Dewitts. That is a game I'm, not exactly as excited about, but it's a game nonetheless. Gerben Price against Martin Schindler, and then Danny Noppert against Roberto Cross coming up. I'm quite surprised a little bit, actually. Could you remember again, back in, April, we were saying there's a genuine possibility that Rob Cross could miss out on the World Match Play. He was done. He was finished.
It came from nowhere, though, didn't it?
What a run.
It did look...
He's on 5th. He only qualified 5th, by the way.
No, it's mad. It looked like there was no way back.
No,
and I don't mean to the match play. Like, we've seen it plays, and I know he had a lot going on. There was all sorts of different distractions and things to think about. But it genuinely looked like one of those cases where we see a player and we see them go into rapid decline. And it's where do you then find a win? Because he couldn't buy a win. The Euro Tours he couldn't get anything over there. He couldn't get anything on the floor. It wasn't happening on the telly. And then all of a sudden, he just seems, I don't know whether he's playing with a bit more freedom when he's got a few bits off his chest.
A change of equipment, I know that. He changed a couple of little things on his setup. And it seems to have made all the difference. He prefers the way the dart now enters and sits in the board. I think he's coming to terms with his personal issues.
Well, this is what I was going to say. Do you think that's sort of...
Well, it's a combination, isn't it? It snowballs, and you start blaming one for the other, and then it just spirals out of control for him. But he's managed to just stop the decline, and his form over the last 6 months is not just a little bit better than Noppert's. It's massively better than Noppert's.
Well, that's why the bookies have got him higher than Noppy to win it at the moment. Right. Shorter odds, I should say, 50 to 1 for Rob Cross, 66 for one for Danny Noppert. Considering the fact as
If
well,
I'd
it's
have
just
said that
that
to you 6 months ago, we'd have been.
I'd have gone.
Because
They've been on the
again,
pitch.
he added a different element to his game. He was hitting more 180s. He was having higher averages, and then again, he just hit a brick wall. And instead of a little decline or demise, it's been a huge drop off in form. Yeah, you know, he's averaging just north of 94 for the last 6 months. That doesn't, you know, that puts him sort of in and around players that have not even qualified for the match play.
Yeah.
Well, you look at Kevin Dutz. I know I said, you know, it's a game, but I think I might be doing, to be fair, Barzy, Kevin Dutz a disservice, because I think, in terms of years, well, I think there's only one player, in my opinion, that's been better than on the floor this year. The obvious, but he's been pretty good.
Yeah, possibly. Going back to Noppy just quickly as well. There's been an equipment change for Noppert. I don't think it's massive, but he's certainly changed the colour of his darts. He's always used that black dart with a little bit of like natural tungsten in, and he's gone to this gold one, and he's sticking with it. But since he's made that change, I don't think he's maybe won one game, or certainly not.
Again,
certainly not many
around him that has not sort of picked up on that and gone, "What are you doing?"
Well, you'd like to think someone would do.
Someone surely will go out, even if you're the manufacturer. Go, mate. I mean, your manufacturer. You're looking at all of these players' stats like I do and go, right, well, what day did he change? Oh, hang on a minute, he's dropped 2 points off of his running average.
Yeah.
So that's an indicator that, you've got to give them time to sort of evolve and get used to them. But if it's not working instantly, what makes you change?
Yeah, there's got to be I think there has to be you know, I'm not the expert on this, but I imagine there has to be something to instigate a change. You know, because you've got to know what to change, haven't you? Do I want to go heavy? Do I want to go lighter? Is it and what am I hoping to get out of it? If I'm using longer points, why? Because I don't think it's wise at all to just change for the sake of, I'll try this. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to do?
I think we had that sort of thing with the boards where they were a little bit harder and the players weren't, a lot of them who rely on the darts sitting up. It's a bit like they rely on as much as the ones that stack.
Yes.
Then you implement a change to adapt to your environment.
Yeah, but
I get those changes.
When you see that though, like when that happens, if it doesn't have the necessary impact, you go back. You know, you think, well, that's not doing what I want it to do.
Correct.
But we've seen lots of players, haven't we, labour with a setup, labour with a change.
And that's the great word. He's labouring with them, and he's almost trying to prove himself right by going, no, I'm definitely right about it. Well, you're not, mate, because the numbers show me that they're not.
Yeah, and that's the thing at the moment. Obviously, with Noppy is that I think he is trying to do something to try and change some things around. But that's where we go. Luke Humphries against Cameron Menzies is a ridiculously interesting game. Because if you'd have told me this about a couple of months ago, that Cammy was in this decent a form, I'd have gone, you're mental.
No, I've seen him play brilliant in spells for many, many years, but that's the problem. It's only in spells. But I love the fact that he's now introduced a different directive in terms of how he's approaching the sport, how he's treating his body, physically and mentally. He's made conscious efforts to improve in every way. And ironically, the guy he's playing did that magnificently.
He's the poster child for it, isn't
Absolutely.
he?
Right?
100%.
Lifestyle changes, fitness, food, water intake. You know, not quite as much as Rob Cross, but he just drink a lot of water. You know, all these elements.
Preparation, isn't it? It's just making
but
sure.
you don't want to be over
What
practiced.
do they say about piss poor preparation?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
But you don't want to ever be over practiced. That's the only key thing on
and
this
it's
point.
it's easily done in Blackpool. But
it really is.
You know, it's good. I think it's really. I mean, you could never question that. You know, the raw talent. The raw talent has been there for all to see.
Yeah, for years.
And I always thought there was two elements, and I suppose both of it's mental. One is just the ability to control himself, his mental state on the hockey when he's stood there and he's dealing with what's happening around him. And secondary to that is how he's able to approach the game of darts as a whole. And is he able to view it? You know, for the longest time, he saw it as something he did on the side to his plumbing. Yeah, it was a hobby that he did on the side to the fact that he was a plumber. And there are some players where that gets the best out. Johnny Clayton.
Darren Webster.
Yeah, there are some players where that mindset of, I don't need this to pay my mortgage. I'm not taking all the financial pressure of it. There are others that that flourish with that pressure. They use it to light a fire and to elevate their performance. But what you've got to do with that, I think, is you've got to then approach, like you said, the total package. Yes. You've got to look at how physically able you are to get up and do it, where you are mentally, what your preparation is. And I think I don't think he's there, but I think he's on the right trajectory.
Yeah,
he's heading in the right.
I think it's a horrible
place
goal for him. He's sort of his 6 monthly numbers so this year effectively. He's over 93, but Humphries is around 100. Humphries has got a 7-2 winning record, and I think Cammy has this thing where he looks up to these players a little bit. He gives them a bit too much respect, and there's nothing wrong with that until you're playing them.
No, but this is where Vincent needs to be playing Cammy again. I think
he can sometimes. He can
do not touch me.
he can sometimes, and I mean this with the greatest of respect to him. But the vibes that you get, I remember we watched him at UK Open, right?
Yep.
And I think you were in the room at the time, and we were right up close at the front. He was playing Gary Anderson, and you'd swear to God he'd won a draw at an exhibition. Yeah. Like he seemed to be approaching it as a fan. Like and yes, that's great, and he was enjoying it, but it's just that clinicalness, that killer instinct, it just went missing.
And I think that's one of the key elements for Cammy's progression is he is working with people that are addressing how his approach, not just to darts, but to life in general, which is way more important than darts. But once he gets all that balance right, and listen, men, we mature much later than women, right? I'm still.
I'm going to one day.
Yeah, I'm hoping it soon, right? So with him, and especially the way he does get financially, emotionally invested, and everything else, it's costing him financially because you're not getting the better. So it's a bit like having a car, a V8, and it running on 7 cylinders. You know, you've got to find out what the problem is and put that right. And he's doing that. And I love Cammy. I was the first one to come to his defence at Christmas because I think mocking someone who's plainly and obviously had a meltdown in front of your very eyes, that was something I absolutely despised and felt terrible for him for. So I'm glad that one, he's actually able back to play, and the fact that he is winning, because that injury could quite easily have ended it all. But he doesn't beat Luke Humphries.
Well, this is the interesting thing here as well. We'll move on to Barzi here, if I may, about a certain Mr. Gerwyn Price. Because he not won anything on the television since 2021, particularly, I appreciate there are 2 other players called Luke. I get that.
Because he can't hit a double.
But this is the thing. You look at his record recently in big events. Grand Slam, semi. Players' Championship, semi. World Masters, semi. UK Open, semi. Premier League, semi.
Need some Viagra.
It's a fair point. Well, mate.
There is
other brands available.
Other brands are available.
Yeah. But
we haven't got a
I
sponsorship.
hope he gets a sponsor.
We haven't got a sponsorship at the minute.
So if I go on a
Chris
sponsor,
has got a patch available.
Yeah. But this is the thing about Gezi though, is the fact that he's still going off 4th favourite. He's still going off 4th fab. He's 12-1, Barzi. Like, just something needs to happen in that game to get him into a final because he's not been to one since 2021.
It's a strange one because Gezi has all the ability in the world. That he has that mental resilience that only a few have. That elite sportsman mentality. But this year, we know he's got a lot going on behind the scenes, and he's spoken at it without speaking about it, which I get. But a bit like Gary Anderson, Mace, I think he's undercooked. He's not playing enough darts.
His outside influence is self-inflicted.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like for me. Do get your career done and dusted, then go and do it. Like, but then you can't sort of. I don't want to say him whinge, but you can't have it both ways. You know that's like me saying, "Oh, I'm so tired. I bought a fucking pub. What do you think I'm?" Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think I'm going to be sat there sunbathing all day every day? Like,
does he, Charlotte? Okay, fair enough.
That comes with the territory. I know it looks like it.
Yeah, you've done well, mate.
Yeah,
I must say.
I have been away.
Yeah.
One of us has got to have a holiday, right?
He was white this morning. Just one day.
It's just one day in Teesside. That's it.
Teesside. It's beautiful.
It's smog, isn't it?
It's a smoggies. That's what it is.
Yeah. So I don't. Listen, everyone knows I'm a huge Gerwyn Price fan. I love the showbiz and everything he's brought to our sport, but he's got you've either got to put up or shut up. You can't have priorities in elsewhere. You can't spin plates. It just doesn't. Something's got to give, and his game's been affected. Although his TV record has been outstanding, as Jar rightly mentioned. But in all those matches, he like gets to a point where, and it's against the elite guys where he's got them on toast. He's got his bollocks in his own hand, and he can't give them a twist or a squeeze. That's something that's missing from his game. And is that because he's not as dedicated? He's not as determined? Does he really care as much as he used to? Does he care too much? They're all the things that he has to work out for himself. But irrelevant. If he doesn't win anything else for the rest of his career, who cares? Because he's had a guy who's come to the sport so late from another one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's achieved more than anybody else I can sort of try and put in that pigeonhole. No one comes anywhere close to him. And he's done so much for the sport. Whether you love him or hate him, he's put bums on seats and eyes on our sport.
He's had people talking about darts when not a lot of people did.
Right.
Like, it's easy now, Littler's
Pre-Luke,
there.
yeah, pre-Luke.
It's easy now, Littler's there, because everybody's interested. All the big names want to come in. Everybody wants to do a stream and talk about it. But before that, it was really hard to get people enthused or just excited or interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do need somebody who's going to say something controversial, that'll walk off a stage, come out with ear defenders, or do something that livens things up.
Oh no, 100%, and I agree. He's absolute box office. The way he is on stage when we get the boyar and stuff like that, he's absolutely box office.
Thanks.
And I'm over the moon that he changed the fans' perception as well. Because at one point I didn't think that was possible. I thought it was that rooted that I didn't think.
Well,
it
they've
was.
got someone else to boo in Littler now.
Do you know
they
what?
got bored with booing him, so hang on, let's boo the guy that's actually
On a
the
side
best.
note, by the way, I always say it when you mention it. Obviously, what the UK public in particular like to do is build a sports person up and up and up, and then as soon as they get too successful, crash
And then
them
when
down.
they crash them down, they want them to go back up again.
Ridiculous.
But they want a big inquiry as to how this happened. How on earth did this happen? Yeah, how on earth did this happen?
So, I mean, here's a question then about obviously the whole thing of this. Is there anybody in that section of the draw in terms I think Ross Smith probably the most seed in danger, well, maybe actually Danny Noppert.
Danny Noppert
for me. The thing with Ross Smith against Kevin Dukes is, Ross has had a good month, 6 weeks, possibly you could stretch it to 2 months. But if you then compress those numbers, the fact that Kevin Dukes got a 4-3 head-to-head record against him, and Kevin Dukes, on paper, again, not my opinion, is a better player for the last 6 months of this year. And that can't be ignored. Not when you think of the ceiling that we put, or the bracket that we put Ross Smith in. For me, Ross Smith is a top 10 player.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
When he's on it. But you cannot ignore Dukes. You cannot ignore him because he's got a winning record. Do I think he beats Smith? Probably not.
Okay.
I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious for me what the quarterfinal is going to be, and it's obviously going to be Cameron Menzies against Rob Crop. No, I'm not joking, absolutely not. It's going to be Humphries versus Price. Now, I think this is actually quite good for Gezi that it's not Littler, because again, if you've looked at his stats recently against Littler, he's only won 1 in 18 games against him. We all remember that World Grand Prix game in particular. I mean, that was amazing, that 1-5-2 from Littler, and there's been other occasions where that's happened.
But he's had to produce things like
that. But if you go to the well that often, do you then have the ability to continue to go to it?
Well, that's why Littler is where he is. Because every time he sort of asks himself a question, he always has the answer. Well, 99% of the time has the answer.
So, I mean, Ross Smith, by the way, again, on the year to date, on the order of merit, he's third.
Yeah.
He's got the most on there, but third most on there. So
he's had a great few months.
But I mean, it's obviously going to be Humphries against Price. I actually think that Gerwyn Price does him. I don't know why. I've got no idea why. But if you say it enough with confidence, people might believe you. That's what I've been told. No, I'm getting a no from the crowd members.
Cross Humphries.
Are you?
Yeah.
You think Cross gets there?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You wouldn't have said that 6 weeks ago.
Absolutely not. But again, look at his history at the Matchplay and the manner in which he won it. Let's not forget about that. He does have a love affair with the venue. I think he's started to get a bit of confidence back and belief, and that's everything in this sport. You know, form, belief, and results. And he's been getting them of late. And again, his numbers, his last 6 month numbers, put him right in the mix. He's averaging 97 in the last 6 months. He is right in the mix with outside of the 2 Lukes. he's right in the mix with all the next level of elite players.
I think that could be thinking about, form and confidence. If he goes no further in the tournament but beats Gerwin Price, I think that's absolutely massive for Rock.
Well, you think
Huge
a little bit
for
earlier,
the rest of the year.
we're looking at Woodhouse beating Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at form and
Recent
confidence.
form.
Yeah, I get that.
Recency biased, yes, but you can't ignore the form, and again, the standard backs up the form.
I think Luke Humphries is the class in that section. I just look at him, his demeanour, and I think New York was massive. People will go, it's only a World Series. No. Beating Luke Littler in a final, in a last leg decider, when Littler's records in last leg decider are just fucking ridiculous. Like MVG-esque on the Euro Tour. To do it the way he did, I think gives him so much.
And on that platform as well, it was huge.
Correct. Madison Square Garden. People will go, it's only a World Series. Fucking do one. It's Madison Square Garden. It's the biggest one.
And you're playing the world number one.
And you're playing the world
dominating.
Mate, it's an exhibition.
And you're playing the world. And you're playing.
Well, it didn't look like to me an exhibition the way Littler was playing.
Yeah, I know. I'm only messing with that.
So yeah, for me, Luke Humphries blitzes that section. I know Duzzer was on earlier, and he said he didn't like the draw. I don't think it matters to Luke Humphries. I think he's playing that well. I don't think it matters.
The problem for Humphries though is the fact that there's no doubt his scoring is probably better than Littler's right now. Let's be honest about it. It's the doubles, and as we always know, and Bobby George has often said it, scoring for show, doubles for dough. And that is his problem. That was his problem in the Premier League.
When you said Bobby George said, I wondered where you were going there. I was about to say, are we about to get cancelled?
Dump button.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could see your finger hovering there. Right, here we go.
But genuinely though, right? That's the biggest problem for me is the fact that, and that was the reason why that it took him so long to get into the Premier League top four is because he couldn't buy a double. Literally, he didn't know where the fucking outer ring was. That was the issue. And if it was either going elsewhere or at the back. And all I'm saying is that if you give Gerwin Price a chance, specifically in this form that Gezzy's in on TV, I just think that he'll do it. It's going to be close though, that game.
I think the problem we've got, if we sort of looked at this draw, the way I've got it formatted as in in two sections. If these players play at their absolute best, it'd be relatively easy to pick out the semi-finals. The problem we've got is we've got two guys that we've not seen in a long while that are at the moment head and shoulders everybody else, and then we got the rest of them that are some are sort of not the better players but in better form, and the better players seem to be slightly out of form or have distractions. It's a real tough one, and I think this is why we love the match play and the Grand Prix to be specific, because this is what we get. We get the best for the last 2 years and the best for this year.
Yeah.
And how much relevance can we give the form coming into it against experience and knowledge? It's a toughie, but there's trigger points with players, that Pricey being one of them, Gary being another. If they start at MVG another, and these three are absolute the elite of our sport. Once they get tripped up early, they seem to just get drawn in.
Yeah,
and they can't shake it off. And I think because they were sort of had such dominance during certain periods, and especially Michael, that he's like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
It was a bit like that when he lost to Hetzer. He was like, and Hetzer was brilliant, took his chances and fair play to him, but he had to rely on Michael missing to get those opportunities, which he still had to take. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, those opportunities magnify when you're playing someone like Michael, because it adds pressure because you've got him. But will Michael keep missing? And again, it's like all these big gun players. This tournament's perfect for them. You're not playing more than once a day. You've got breaks in between. You can almost build some momentum and what confidence you might not have if the draws kind of you. And all due respect to Brian Joyce, if this was in a cool place in Hildesheim on the floor, best of 11 legs, I go, ooh, it's a tricky game this one for Gary Anderson. But the fact that Gary does have a love affair, and I'm sure he's had a few hours and just sort of ticked over. Massively talented player, doesn't need to work as hard as those that are not as talented. The only time Gary would probably get caught out is later in a tournament when you need to have played those long practice sessions where you're, where you've divided.
You can hold a level, can you?
For an hour.
Yeah.
For an hour solid, and that's after doing 2 hours practice. Then he might slip up, but yeah, it's a fascinating tournament for so many different reasons this year.
And a fascinating final section, I think, because this is a section where it is so wide open that I genuinely can't call this. Here's the section as it is. Jan van Veen against Christoph Ratajski, Vessel Nyman against Dave Chisnell, James Wade, Jermaine Wattimena and Ryan Searle versus William O'Connor. That's a section of the draw that is rather interesting.
Put them all in a...
Yeah, do like a wife swap thing, put the keys in the barrel and see who comes out with it.
I would like to wife swap with a few of them lads. I mean, if I was creating a shortlist, I don't think.
But yeah, I mean, looking at it, then obviously, because you look at Xian, obviously since the World Finals had the injury, the problems with that. Christoph Ratajski obviously coming off the win this week against them, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Vessel Nyman, who has been arguably the form player of 2026, no question.
Away from the TV cameras.
Well, you have to go off that because obviously Littler's only been on the television. So, but Vessel, I think, has done more to increase his stock than Littler has. I know that sounds weird to say.
I agree. I'd sort of mock. It's not our TV cameras but it is broadcast on TV. It's on Viaplay and it's on something else. It's big stage in front of big crowds. So for me now, he's proven in that environment, and it's just for him now. It's just how he navigates himself through that section. I think Ratajski has got a massive chance against Van Veen. His form the last 6 months has been horrendous for him.
Yeah, you look at Vessel Nyman against H, as I say. The polar opposites.
She's averaging 90 for a year.
Well, this is the polar opposites, aren't they?
I don't see where that, give me some evidence to indicate where it's going to come from. And the last player Chizzy wants to be playing is someone who's on such a crest of a wave of confidence.
I think the complete opposite of that, which it's the best of things for one and the worst of things for the other. Correct. Because when you look at we do right. You look at Lyman's record on the ranked TV events, and it's first round, and he just really struggles for those first round wins. But it's almost gift wrapped, this, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
a perfect storm.
They've got now. There you are. There's Dave Chisnell. Yeah. Like that. This will just because you've got some sharks ahead of you in this draw, but you can almost play. It's a free hit. Turn up.
Yeah.
If you underwhelm, you'll probably be fine. Might give you a scare, might light a fire under you a little bit, but I think it's the perfect. I don't think it's a perfect draw for Wessel. I think it's a perfect opening game.
I think he loves that section.
Can I just say, by the way, Wessel Nyman, Bazzi, third favourite for this tournament at 10-1 with the sponsors.
Wow.
That is one of the worst decisions that the bookies are making.
That the other year.
Was it Rock?
Yeah,
it was Rock in the world.
Third favourite in the world, didn't there?
And not won a Pro Tour, European Tour at that stage, I don't think.
Silly.
Remember the last time Wessel was favourite for something? Hi, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In rolls Joe Cullen, hold my dart. And hold these betting slips as well.
But genuinely, though, right?
The ones that you've just thrown in the bin.
Yeah, but are you... Look, it's all well and good and very lovely winning on the Pro Tour. It's all well and good, very lovely winning on the Euro Tour. And he has got a very nice opening game in Dave Chisnell, no question. But how can you be third favourite for this tournament?
To put you out of misery because he plays Luke Humphries in the semi-final.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
You're picking him to go that deep.
Yeah, he plays Humphries in the semi-final. Yeah.
I'm genuinely speechless.
So, mate, you've done it. You've shut him up.
Whichever way you look at it, he's joint third, isn't he? So if he loses in the semi-final, he's joint third. So he's third favourite for a reason.
Yeah, but for a man who has done next to bugger all on television.
Yeah, but again, look at the positions he put himself in and couldn't quite get over the line. Now he's learnt to get over the line. We were ranting and raving about him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was putting in performances that made everybody sort of go, oh, hello. And you've got to think again what he's come back from and all the abuse he gets and how he's learned how to deal with that now, and he's proven he's not just a one-off, and it's not just a two-off or a three-off. It's multiple and against really strong fields. There's no one in that little section for me that if you put that in a quarter final of a European tour, who are you making favourite?
Well, yeah, but of course you're making at the moment. You're making Western Nine
there you
favourite,
go.
100%. But this is in front of the big cameras.
To be fair, though,
I'm not having him out of that.
I'm with Mace like that. I think the only one that potentially stops him.
I know what you're going to say.
Is Western Nine?
No, it will be James Wade.
Yes.
However, James Wade will go to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
He will go to Defence Against the Dark Arts.
I ain't got an issue with that though.
I'm not.
I like
I did not say I had an issue with it, but
No, you do.
I love the Dark Arts.
No, but you have an issue with who's doing it.
And Watamina won his last 4 against Wade, so.
Wow, yeah.
And Watamina made his first European Tour final. Well, first quarter final, then first semi-final, then first final. So, and he's of a certain character that he'll use that as some kind of, for him that'll be massive. For me, it would have been, I lost in the final, but.
I think there's a big list of reasons why James Wade wouldn't come through this quarter. And Watamina's recent form and the fact that Van Veen is who he is, Ratajski's recent form, the fact that Nyman's in there. I think there's a big list of reasons to not pick James Wade.
Which is why he's going to do it.
But James Wade is the ultimate spoiler of he's the ultimate spoiler of what everybody thinks is going to and he did it last year at the match play.
Yeah.
Like recent memory, he did it like UK Open.
And Luke Littler had to play his absolute nuts
This
off
is
to
it.
beat him.
Yeah, UK Open final. So we've got recent big TV event, multiple games a day, and this is a bit different. This is slightly paced out.
And listen, and Wade's history at the match play.
I find it really hard because with Watamina, its potential.
Yeah.
Searle
And in
and
the heat,
William
we'll find
O'Connor.
the heat and length of matches will find Watamina out.
I almost think that Nyman and Van Veen could almost sort of do each other. If they get drawn against each other, you can be drawn into that being a big main event and you can take a lot out of you. And I just think Wade can just pick them off.
Well, Wade has been to the World Match Play final 7 times. He's only won one of them, but then again, the majority of them are against a guy called Phil Taylor. Don't know if you ever heard of him. Or Luke Littler. I don't know if you ever heard of him, really.
Did he make the final of his first 3 World Match Plays?
Yes, he did, yeah. And all the time he was playing Phil. Well, the only one that he didn't play, I don't think he played Taylor in 2007, if memory serves me correctly. He played Terry Jenkins, but the other 2, yes, he played Philip, whose stage it is. The trophy's bloody named after, for God's sake. There's a reason for it. Out of those Pro Tour qualifiers that we've got currently, obviously Ratajski, Chisnell, Watamina and O'Connor. I mean, we haven't really touched on O'Connor that much, but is there anybody there? Okay, because that section just looks wide open, Dan.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I like William O'Connor. He's a good player.
Yeah,
he does good numbers. He's very watchable.
Yeah.
I think that room is going to absolutely light up for that walk on.
Yeah.
And I tell you the one thing as well, he's as fit as a butcher's dog.
Yes.
He won't be bothered by the heat.
No,
he won't be bothered by the length of the match.
Decent boxer, I hear. And I think he's a danger.
Yeah.
I do think he's a danger, but I just think in some of these other sections, I think like the big player looks a bit obvious, and you see, and I think William O'Connor could maybe do a bit of damage, but I almost think this is too much of a lottery for him.
Yeah. It's course and distance has a huge say in this event, in it, and it was like last year whenever we were talking about the match play, pre-match play. We sort of looked at Wade and tried to navigate his route to the final. We were like, oh, I'm not sure. And then what does he do? UK Open this year, none of us had Wade making the final. But that's what James does. He just goes under the radar, and then he's like a sniper, isn't he? Just from absolutely nowhere, and he's great at it. But like I said, I'm just not sure about him right now. I'm not sure where his game is.
Do you think he'll relish this little section of the bracket with the young?
No, I think if it was tougher,
players?
I think if it was tougher, he would.
Right.
I think that might be. I think he'll go in undercooked because he'll look at it and he'll look and go, oh God.
Struggle to get excited.
Also, with William O'Connor, I worry that it's his debut.
Yeah.
And we saw that the match play does funny things to people. Littler had got to a world final, played in his first match play, and was like, even I was nervous.
Yes.
And having to wait 15 years on tour to get there, I just think that the whole occasion may get to him. And
it's a huge thing for him because he knows his darts. He's a darts historian, and he understands the magnitude of what he's achieved. And making the match play in my day, it wasn't nowhere near as tough as it is today. But for these guys, it's going to be a huge moment walking out, and he'll be emotional. And he's playing someone in Ryan Searle who's like stoic.
Yeah.
Not going to get anything out of him. I think, again, it's one of those kind of draws. I'd have rather seen O'Connor against a Watamina.
Yeah.
That would be
Something a
possible.
bit lively.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
he's not going to get anything to play off it in Ryan. He's going to, because he gives nothing away.
I mean, are we surprised? Well, to be fair, actually, it could be a Sunday evening game. It might be the start of the Sunday evening if England don't make the World Cup final. So I was going to say,
What are you on about?
it's not happening.
Oh, we got Hurricane.
This is a dart show. Thankfully.
Sort of.
Yeah. Well,
Coming home.
Yeah.
What England's playing? Yeah, it's coming home on Friday, mate, with nothing on it.
No, we're playing Saturday either way anyway.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah, damn it. Yeah, it's coming home Monday then. It's coming home Monday, but without a trophy on it. Anyway, moving swiftly on, before I get probably lampooned here.
Stay on one and you. I do not. We
That's
talked a lot.
before we feed you to the lad.
We've talked a lot about odds tonight. I don't fancy yours much at the minute.
Yeah, my car's going to be slashed like Barsies by the end of the night. So, in this section, then, who do we think is going to come through? Because, honestly, throw a dart at a board, quite literally, and just see which one goes. Because I ain't got a fucking
I've got
clue.
Humphreys beating Nyman.
What? So in that semi-final, but but you've got Nyman making through the quarter. Who does he come through in that? Who comes through out of Wadey, Watermina, Searle, and O'Connor? That's the thing. I've got no idea.
Wadey's record against he's got a 7-5 lead, but that was 7-1, and then he's lost the last 4 to him. I think Jermaine will be absolutely buzzing to have made the final. Although disappointed, he's quite a simple geezer. He'll be like, I made a final. That's progress. And their numbers are so similar. But who's going to flap and miss a few doubles? Probably Watamina. So, yeah, I got Wade versus Nyman.
I've got Wadey coming through into another semi-final because I just think his record, as you mentioned, is outstanding. But I'm actually going to go with. I don't want to say Wessel because I've just said he's never done it on the TV. But the law of averages suggests he has
You've
to.
gone in two-footed completely here. You need to stand by it.
Yeah.
You need some conviction.
Yeah.
You can't say all of that and then just agree with us all.
No, you fucked
You're like,
up.
what's that? What's that program with the guy at the bar and he disagrees with everybody and he goes, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's the fast show.
Undecisive Dave, wasn't it? Or
That's
something?
it, on the fast show.
Christoph
Yeah,
Ratajski
fashion.
makes the quarter-final. There you go, I've said it. Ratajski does make the quarter-final. We've said that with, again, say with
he's gone
conviction,
rogue
people
now.
might believe you. I do. In fact, like I say,
panic there.
the good news is that I
Pick a
can
name.
never. The good news is that I can never get as rogue as him over there with Matt Campbell.
Well,
but yeah, no.
Oh, don't worry, I can get Roger if you want.
I'll drag you back.
You really can't.
I'll drag you back.
Christoph
from...
Ratajski wins the match play.
Oh, stop it.
But now you're just being silly for the sake of
Silly.
it,
Someone
man.
put something in his
Yeah,
zeros.
but no, I've got Wadey winning that section, and I genuinely think it could be Xian Van Baen actually who comes through that quarterfinal, comes through that part of it. Yeah, but Xian versus James and Wadey wins with, like you say, with the dark arts.
I think the quarter is it's Wade and Nyman, and I think that whilst I think Nyman will, I think he'll almost be like pulling a plaster, like getting that first win under his belt. I think he'll take the second one. I just think if you could, if there was a person that was designed to do Nyman in and to scupper it and to come in and to do all the things that'll unnerve him and unsettle him. And the man that can be relied upon to know what to do and how to do it.
And not bottle it.
It's James Wade. So I've got James Wade beating Nyman.
I agree with a lot of what Dan and Chris have said there. I think the quarterfinal is Wessel against Wade. I think Wessel annihilates Chizzy. Absolutely. Yeah. I think he annihilates him and then he gets confidence. I think he beats Van Veen.
Well, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christoph Ratajski's winning the match play according to
I think James Wade will go to the dark arts. He'll have to because he doesn't score heavy enough. If Wessel's on, he doesn't score heavy enough. He'd have to Wade against him. But I'm going Wessel. There's something that I like. He's already provisionally world number 9 without a run on TV. I think this is the run.
In the Premier League next year.
100. I can't see how at the moment. I can't see how they don't pick him for the Premier League.
Well, because he hasn't done it on television.
Yeah, he does it. He gets to semi-final and loses to Humphreys.
Yeah, but that's not good enough. You know that's not good enough.
It will be when
Well,
you
if only 2 players are winning everything, you're
Yeah,
going to
but-
have
but
to,
you know that
semi-finals
that's-
have to be good enough,
Yeah,
don't
but,
they?
yeah, but you know that we're not talking about the P word in July. It's just not happening.
We are.
No way.
We might as well
Right.
finish off with the Triple Crown then, are we?
Oh God. Have you
Yes.
given me a bucket?
Yeah, thank you,
Did
mate.
someone say Triple Crown?
No, yeah, you made that Wikipedia page. I'm absolutely sure it was you. Right, so quickly because we've only got 10 minutes left of the show. By the way, thanks to everybody who's been in the chat room. By the way, sorry I haven't got to
We
all
haven't
your
got to it,
comments.
have we? It's
No,
been
but you've been
super busy
brilliant.
tonight.
You need a
been mint.
separate chat thing for questions
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah.
just comments.
Yeah, chat room's unreal tonight.
Yeah, the chat was fantastic. So thank you
Yes,
thank you so
everybody.
much. Right, so let's just go through quickly our semi-finalists. Our semi-finalists again. I mean, I've got Littler, Clayton, Gezi, and Wadey. Those are my 4. What about yourself, Chris?
Littler MVG and Humphreys against Nyman.
Okay, Daniel.
Sorry, what do you want?
And you're semi-finalising. You know
reading
the
it.
ones you said about an hour ago.
Yeah, I was just reading the chat room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the semi-final is Humphreys and Wade,
Yeah.
Littler,
Yeah.
and Clayton.
Wow, we've got the same.
Littler,
Don't like that.
Littler, Clayton, Humphreys, Nyman.
Okay, yeah, all right. Again, I can see that. So then, the time has come, everybody. We've got there in a roundabout way. Philip, we'll start with you and we'll go along the end like this. Who wins the 2026 Betfred World Match Play?
The final will be Luke against Luke. Shock horror. I know it's boring, but they are head and shoulders above everyone else. And the longer format, the cream rises. It will be 1 versus 2. However, we will not see Luke Littler on a Pro Tour this year because Luke Humphreys regains the Betfred World Match Play.
I mean, you're wrong, but I can sort of understand it. I get it because he's at the moment right now. Luke Humphreys is the only player that can challenge Luke Littler in a long form game. He's the only one who's beaten him in a long form game. Over 20. What is that record? Is it 22-1 or something stupid like that? That's like when he's got the game's gone over 20 legs. Daniel.
Luke. It won't be an all-Luke final. It's Luke Littler against James Wade.
Wow. Back-to-back years. We've seen him at the UK Open and the World Match Play. It'll be a back-to-back.
We saw them just a few months ago in the UK Open final.
Yeah.
There's a 1,000 reasons why it can happen, and it's far more interesting than saying Luke plays Luke again.
You're
more
manifesting
interesting.
chaos there.
And I'm striving for something interesting. so
Luke Littler wins.
Luke Littler plays James Wade in the final.
And I'm guessing Luke Littler wins.
No,
What?
James Wade. Finals are final, and you'll learn this at the weekend. I know you're not a fan of the England national team, but when
I'm
on
Irish.
a finals, one match. It's just one match.
Irish.
He pretends to be Irish. It's one game, and on any given day, anything can happen, and you'll learn that at the weekend. And the weekend after that, everyone will learn it again when James Wade wins the World Match Play.
You need to go back to the normal again. It's not the zeros, mate, because they clearly got something. Yeah, absolutely right.
He promised me it was
Zero. I think she might have put a few.
I think he's put 0
Mickey's
Guinness
in
in
it.
an amateur load of
Yeah.
something else. I don't know where it's come
Fair
from.
point.
I think it's out of date.
Oh, dear.
Christopher, as the guest of honour.
Littler beats Humphreys in an absolute epic. And it could go all the way.
Tried to be interesting, folks. Tried to do something.
The final will be interesting.
I think actually that it's going to be Luke Littler versus Gerwin Price.
Whoa!
I think Luke Littler
That'd be
takes on
spicy. I
Gezi.
like that.
I'd be happy to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, and this is the big thing here, everybody. Gerwin Price. No, he doesn't. Luke Littler could be about to do something that only the greatest player of all time has ever done. Win the World Championship and the World Match Play back-to-back years. Yeah. Littler won it 25 and 26 in the World. He obviously won the Match Play in 2025. He has a chance to do it in 26. Only Philip Douglas Taylor has ever done
I
that.
thought you were going to say me then for a minute.
Well, you certainly haven't. But that would be a huge shock. But that's the rare.
Two of the hardest tournaments to win.
But that's the rarefied air. That's the rarefied air.
Yeah.
That's the rarefied air that we're talking about this ball.
That's where he sits in the world of darts right now. But it's the fact that we got to introduce the element of longevity. I say to people, wherever you put Taylor, MVG, and Littler, that's up to you. But they're certainly the 3 greatest that I've ever seen.
It would keep him on track as well to hold everything at once, which is another he's running out of. In terms of records, because he's tore up the record book completely
over and over.
So all we've got now to sort of it becomes a bit stale, because all you're looking forward to now is like longevity records. How many times? And because Taylor dominated for so long,
I don't.
They're all so far off that it's difficult to get excited about any of them. So when you get that, something that's an interesting achievement, because he's done so much, you're stretching for some, but holding everything, absolutely everything, all at once.
Well, all he needs are the Euros. All he needs are the Euros, and he's won everything before he's 19 years of age.
Yeah, but to win everything in a calendar cycle, to win everything, to hold everything.
I mean, MVG didn't. MVG completed darts in 2016, but you have to remember, obviously, he didn't win the World Championship that year. It was the following year,
precisely,
which is why it's a rarefied air.
But Jar, going by yours, if Mr. Littler does that, does that make him the double Triple Crown winner?
No, actually, Philip, because it means that he will have completed the 4 biggest, obviously, in the World Matchplay, the World Darts Championship, the World Grand Prix, and the UK Open. Because those are 4 titles that actually matter to our ranking points, not some glorified exhibition made up by a broadcaster.
No one cares about rankers anymore.
It's the Grand Slam, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly.
He's
I'm never working at Sky, am I? So that's that, I think, really. That's where we are. So the thing is this. If Gezi, by the way, final thought, if Gezi does win this World Match Play, it's the first time that he wins a title on TV since 2021. I don't think the Winter Gardens roof will be possibly able to contain the Guan anymore.
It would be a fabulous story, and he's looked likely. I get a lot of abuse over it. Well, why does he rate Price so highly? Well, because the numbers suggest that the most likely behind the 2 Lukes is Price, because his numbers normally are the 3rd in line to the throne, if you like.
Yeah.
Every metric that I break down, and when he has lost to either one of them, it's been down to him fluffing a few doubles here and there.
We've heard lots of talk with Price about whether he's gonna walk away, whether he's got other stuff outside of. If he does something like picks up a match play win, do you think that brings him closer or further away to the end?
Yeah, listen, he obviously has made a ton of money, and even if he did say, do you know what, keep it. Which is something I sort of suggested he do years ago when he was getting all that abuse. I thought, you keep pushing him, you'll just say, do you know what? I'm walking.
Yeah.
I don't know what his financial position is and whether he could walk away. Let's have one thing, right? If he does walk away, he will do more exhibitions than anybody else.
Yeah, 100%.
And trust me, he'll be doing them on Premier League nights around the corner.
He'll probably draw. He'll certainly draw a fair few.
But yeah, it'd be such a lost to our sport. I love watching him. I think he's done so much. I think he's box office, and listen, he can play a bit as well. It's not not about him and what he looks like and how he does it. The guy is elite.
Well, I can't wait for this tournament. It is the best tournament on the calendar every single damn year. The UK Open is the greatest tournament in the tournament because every tour card holder's in the room, and we get to see so many people that we know and love. But the World Match Play that week up in Blackpool, it is very, very special. We've got everything covered on the Winter Gardens. We'll be having reaction with every winner, including maybe James Wade as well, because Daniel's going to be there right here on the YouTube channel.
We're getting big now. We can send 2 representatives.
Absolutely.
From the
and if you're on the road or at work, you can listen to it all on.
Well, this is what I was going to.
On the radio.
I was going to say this in a second about you. I was going to say this in a second about you because don't forget as well. By the way, we're going to be with you every single night as well for the Fallout Bar, every single after session, the only instant reaction darts show. Don't forget that. So make sure you tune in right here on YouTube for that. The boys are going to be doing all of that throughout the week. Also, just search across all the socials, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky and Threads. Philip.
And also, Dan and I are in the same shot. We are going to be doing live watch-alongs for semi-finals and final.
Yeah.
We'd love to commit to doing everyone, but we just haven't got the manpower to do. But we are going to do the live watch-alongs for the semi-finals
I might join you for the
and
final.
finals.
I might join you for the final. Maybe. Why not? I don't know. Maybe.
For his birthday, I won't get close to it. So
No, that's fair enough.
You'll have to steer the ship.
So for you as well, though, Chris, obviously, like you say, darts on the radio, it genuinely does work. I love it. And for you guys, obviously, talk sport too. And you've obviously got your new project launching as well.
Yeah, the Darts Guy. Give me a follow. It's something a little bit new. It's nothing like this, by the way.
Far more professional.
Yeah, we will do some collaboration stuff. Yeah, it's just a very quick hit preview and review site where if you want to know who's just won a game, I will be the first to release it because I'll be doing it while it's happening. Although, like you say, you can do the watch-alongs, listen on the radio, or if you can afford it, watch Sky, which we
Or now TV as well.
Or Now,
You can get it for a week pass.
But yeah, the Darts Guy, I'm on all the usual.
Absolutely.
spots, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch it in the Billingham Catholic
Yeah,
Club.
watch it
We've
in
got
the
I
Sky
Catholic
Sports.
absolutely.
Club.
And this is what I was going to
You
say
watch
as
it
well.
for free.
Yeah,
All you got
absolutely.
to do is buy a pint.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% support the locals. 100%. By the way, thank you to everybody here at the Billingham Catholic Club. It's been fantastic all night. Massive thank you as well over there to Benjamin the Tsunami Swift as well. Glenn Durrant as well, who was with us earlier on, and of course the fabulous Mr. Chris Mason too.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
And always to these two gentlemen here, Phil Barsden. It's been nice to be back on the show, boys. Actually, after a few weeks off. But yes, Phil Barsden does things to everybody.
Nice to see you all in person.
Absolutely. You three enjoy the fabulousness of the Blackpool press room. It's a marvellous place.
My green room isn't really the most pleasant place in the world.
Yeah.
Grim, innit?
But-
I'm
but-
intrigued by this casino Glenn was talking about earlier with good food and
Yeah.
it sounds great. He never invites
no.
anyone along with him,
No.
does he? He just tells us about it afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. But finally, and this is another big thank you as well, it's a massive thank you to you as well for watching, for listening as well. This is why we do the Live Lounge Live, because you guys get so involved. I'm so sorry that we haven't been able to get to the chat room at all tonight, but it has been a genuine pleasure being with you again, as always. If you haven't heard the whole show, you can listen to it as an audio only. Won't say tomorrow, because Phil's probably got shit to do. But
We'll have to pack his car back up.
yeah,
and
absolutely
start.
right. Yeah, but he will be getting it out though before the match play starts. It is time to get on that roller coaster and make the pilgrimage, and it is a pilgrimage to the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. 32 players are looking to add their name to the Phil Taylor Trophy. Will it be one of the established lot? Will it be another repeat for Luke Littler? Or will someone new be holding that fabulous trophy at the end of the week? What we don't know is how it's all going to unfold, but we're going to bloody love it. Thanks again for your company tonight here on the Live Lounge Live from the wonderful Billingham Catholic Club, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Good night.